All right, we're rolling.
All right.
Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to Mixin with Mas. This is episode I don't remember. We have Anthony Chorzepa here tonight. How you doing, Anthony?
All right.
Great
Good.
to have you, man.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Yeah. I'm really interested in what you do for a living, and I just shook your hand, and I mean, like, you have like these giant calloused fingers that I've watched you literally remove and decorate a fire by taking a log and placing it somewhere else. I mean, how does it?
Well, the whole idea about grabbing something off of a fire is you can't rip it. You kind of like let it bounce in your hands. And even though the log is on fire, when you makes contact to your skin, it seems to put that little bit of coal out. It's not like a piece of steel.
Okay, I got you.
Retaining. So you could juggle it in your hand. I don't know.
Yeah.
Throw it back. You get burnt a little here and there, but for the most part, I think it's in your head.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to shy away from stuff,
That's true. Yeah. So you just go into a fire and just start grabbing wood.
Oh my God.
I've seen you do it. It's
certain things you don't grab. You got to know what
true.
to grab.
Yeah, I've melted my fingers almost before trying to do that.
Flick it and
So I've known you for years now through the Boy Scouts.
Watch you grow up.
Exactly. Yeah, alongside your son Derek.
Yes.
He became Eagle Scout recently. I became Eagle Scout, and just growing up. And I mean, you were my leader as a Weeblo, right?
Yes.
Weeblo year 2.
Yes. Second year Weeblo.
Exactly. We did a lot of arts and crafts, and I always thought it wasn't really crafts. It was more about like craftsmanship and learning how to use wood and stuff like that. And I remember we made these bridges. Remember that with the clamps?
Oh yeah.
How'd you come up with that?
I don't know. Well, what happened was when Derek first signed up, they were making crafts with paper and carrying it out. Don't put it down until the glue dries. And I mean, it's fun and stuff, but it's like as the kids get older, you have to make real things. So I thought about it. So I'm a cop. I like doing things like this. So let me offer my, skill, I guess. And I signed up, and I enjoyed it.
I learned a lot.
I used to, come up with ideas, here and there. Like, I'd be daydreaming at work, and you're throwing something out, and it's like, I can make something out of that.
Yeah.
Or I made one of the first big jobs was stools. I made when my kids were growing up, I made little stools so they could reach the sink, this and that. And I said, if every kid had a stool, they'll have it for the rest of their life, because I made these things pretty.
Yeah.
So we cut a bunch of things. I had a friend of mine from work help me pre-drill them in the backyard, and we brought them in, borrowed a few drills, and with the help of some of the adults, the kids put a stool together. And it was good because some of the kids came up to me after they were Eagle, and I still have that stool. We still have ours too.
Really?
But, you could pass them down.
That's cool, yeah.
So
I like stuff like that.
instead of like something that they brought home and never used again, it'll have it for his whole life.
Yeah.
They autographed them. So, it kind of got me going. It's a good feeling when you see kids making things. Most kids don't. And
it's good to exercise your mind, especially like being in the Boy Scouts. A lot of times there's a lot of distractions, of course, but then when you're able to finally, it's almost like a puzzle, you're putting it piece by piece, and it requires patience. Like, let's say you're bending the wood with the clamps on, you have to let it sit for a certain amount of hours. You have to glue it, be patient with it, and you could ruin the entire project,
Well, people have to learn to work with their hands.
That's true.
It's like cooking.
I'm gonna move this a little close.
It's like cooking.
You don't have to be that close.
But,
Yeah.
You gotta know how to dice an onion, right? If you can't, you're gonna cut your fingers off. And building things, the same thing. You gotta learn how to work with your hands. There's kids that grow up and they never have the opportunity. They don't know how to do anything with their hands.
Good point. Like, even just making a fire or just learning how to saw,
hold something, whatever.
A drill bit. I remember I saw you making birdhouses with the younger scouts. They're about 8 years old. You were doing it with a bunch of different groups, even 8 years old probably, right? Some of them?
10.
10 years old,
Yeah,
okay.
10, 11.
So I remember one of them brought their younger brothers, and they were also making the birdhouses. And I mean, I remember making mine. I forgot what happened to it, but I still like being involved in something like that. Just like at a very young age, it stops you from fidgeting. And a lot of times you have scouts that have certain things like ADHD or ADD, so they can't pay attention to something. But when you give them a task, walk them through it eventually.
Yes, I noticed that. Some of the kids are wild, and once they were given something to do, they kind of became preoccupied and they didn't bother you.
Exactly, yeah.
you know.
And they don't bother the kids around them. It
Well,
makes
they're
them more
able to
productive for
focus.
themselves.
It makes you wonder if half these illnesses that they have as a result of their upbringing,
What do you think? Like having nothing to do?
having energy
Mm-hmm.
and having to stay home because their parents aren't home. You know, have
Yeah.
to sit in the house.
Yeah.
And what
That's a
what
good
do you
point.
do? You give them the pacifier,
Or the video game, right?
the video game, the
Mhm.
pacifier. Here, play this. Kid should be running around like a puppy.
Yeah. Did you
You
spend
know,
most of your days like childhood outside? Because I mean, your generation, you were born in what year?
I was born in '64.
I was born in 02. So I mean, obviously our upbringings are going to be way different. I was playing outside for most of my childhood, but it was on the block. It was on concrete. And I hear a lot of people that were born in the 60s and 70s that like you guys will go exploring. Like, were you born in New York?
All the tough stories I could tell you. Yeah, I was born in Jackson Heights,
Okay.
and I mean, Wednesday afternoons, the public schools had CCD in
Mm.
our school, so we had off. You'd take your bicycle and ride to LaGuardia Airport. Well, I used to come around this neighborhood, which is pretty far from Jackson Heights.
Yeah.
I didn't even know where I was half the time.
You just find your way back? Was
Yeah,
it like
yeah. You're like, wow, where am I?
what was the policy
It
with
was
your mom?
exploring.
Was it like just be home before dinner? Was that the rule? Or was it just I mean,
No,
as you get older the rules change.
I
but-
guess I was going bicycle riding, and she was like, well, I don't even remember what she would have said.
Yeah, I feel you.
You
Just
know?
caught in the moment, you know? Yeah.
We used to, one time we were collecting newspapers to recycle them.
Mhm.
And me and my friend, we went as far as Astoria. We were 10 years old, 11 years old, going through garbage cans, picking up newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And his friends who lived on his block, his mother, had an empty garage. We filled that thing up to over our heads with newspapers, the whole one-car garage. Then a company came and picked them up. What did we get? $20 maybe, if that? But all summer.
All that labor.
Oh, yeah, up and down through neighborhoods.
Keeps your mind busy though. I miss doing stuff like that. Like when you're a kid, you're not thinking, you're just doing. And I mean, obviously you could run into a lot of brick walls like that. You make a lot of dumb decisions and you learn, you know. But at the same time, it's like you're just enjoying living, you know? Because I bet for you guys, it wasn't about $20, right? It was about the experience, you know?
It was just something to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and what else did we do? We did a lot of things. I mean, I used to ride my bicycle to Astoria Park. It was miles away.
Yeah, I still do that. I love it. Well, you still ride a bike to work, right?
Yeah.
So you.
But I mean, I'm talking 12 years old, 13.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah,
you look
yeah.
at the average 12-year-old now, it's like
Mm-hmm.
you don't want them off the block.
Yeah.
You know,
You can't let them walk to the store by themselves. Yeah.
we played Frisbee football on 31st Avenue by McClancy.
Mm.
You know, you wouldn't even think of hanging out in the street now.
Yeah.
On an avenue doing something like that.
Yeah. Changed a lot. Like nobody hangs outside anymore.
No.
If you look at like the youth today, they don't go outside. They don't enjoy the outdoors. There's no playful attitude. It's really just like inside, and that's the one thing I really don't want my kids to enjoy, which is like the comfort of video games, because then it kind of traps you. You know.
You got to socialize.
Mhm.
I mean,
There's also just an aspect of being outdoors. You know, you could just get. I don't even know it's like for the vitamin D or B. Which one comes from the sun?
D. Vitamin D.
Yeah, but like just being outdoors, just breathing fresh air. You know, like stepping out doesn't
Yeah.
happen often now, especially because of Corona.
And even next to St. Michael's Cemetery, there's a strip of grass alongside the off ramp. They had motocross trails there. Kids used to bring their dirt bikes there and
Really.
ride, and we'd bring our bicycles there.
Mm-hmm.
We used to go all the way to Astoria Boulevard. Now you look at it, it's all overgrown. No one even goes there. Kids went there with their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Kid would, his father would be watching him doing figure eight with his little
Yeah.
XR75.
Now you get reported for that though.
Oh,
'cause
yeah, the
The
cops.
Citizen app, they'll be like a bunch of little thugs are in the neighborhood doing bike tricks,
Yeah, I mean,
but really they're just enjoying themselves, you know.
yeah, these are things we did.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen what was like watching Brooklyn change? Because I know that's one thing that's definitely from the '60s and the '70s to current 2020.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember in the 80s, I think it was early 90s, going to, Bedford Avenue.
I hate myself.
Why?
Oh, I'm gonna get a paper towel. I'm sorry.
We're not shutting down, right?
No.
Okay. All right, you're good. Your table's pretty level. Didn't drip off. All right. You didn't get me. Look.
Send it back upstream.
You're supposed to.
When you hear yourself, it kind of gets like people get really annoyed at their own voice.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna get annoyed with mine too.
No.
You want more water, by the way?
No, I'm good. One more you can put on my lap for me. But no, well, like I said, I didn't hang out in Brooklyn when I was a kid, but
You have a bike there?
oh yeah, I bike through there all the time. I think the neighborhood changed a little too fast.
Which neighborhood? Because I mean, Brooklyn's huge. Talking about like Williamsburg,
like North Williamsburg. It's just like all of a sudden, poof, it just changed. I know it took 10 years, maybe.
More like decades. Like Domino Park itself. Look at it now. You know the Domino Sugar
oh yeah,
Factory.
yeah. I remember saying. I remember saying that. Yeah, I remember seeing the.
It's come a long way. I mean, like if you look at the neighborhood, you look at the pictures.
I remember when it was open there when the sugar cane used to go. You could see the.
Yeah, my pops was across the water. He grew up on the other side.
Stuyvesant Town.
No.
Below that.
He was Lower East Side, but he would play at I think it was FDR Park. And isn't that the one that's across the water?
Yes, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, he was playing baseball there with his brothers, and they'd have these soccer tournaments and stuff like that. And they saw the yellow Domino Sugar sign, and it was still up and running. And it was like you don't go across that bridge. He told me he was like the Williamsburg Bridge was where you drew the line between Manhattan and Brooklyn, obviously because like that's the only thing connecting it.
Different groups. Well, when you're younger, you're exposed to like gangs in different neighborhoods.
Exactly. Yeah. How was the gangs like? Were they prominent growing up, or like the mob?
No, if you want. When I was growing up, they had the 85th Street Park gang.
That was their name.
Yeah, 85th Street Park. The kids who hung out there.
Okay.
We were St. Mike's, and they were like maybe by Ditmas Boulevard. There was a gang, and we had a few friends who got involved in fights. And you're like, "Come on, we're going over to 85th Street Park," and you go with them. And you're standing there like just for like a show. You're like hoping nothing happens,
Yeah.
I mean, my friend, he got hit in the head with a bat, but I wasn't there that night.
Really?
But I wasn't a fighter. But this is what you did. Like everyone from the neighborhood would go, back up your friend.
Because you got to represent. Yeah.
Standing on the corner, seeing what's going to happen.
Because like a one-on-one fight is never a one-on-one fight.
People came out, from their houses. Go back to your neighborhood. Get the hell out of here. They're yelling at you. Like stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't see that much these days because, like, I think it's the social media effect.
No, now with phones,
you record someone, you set them up for life.
So it's like it's over.
What about the mob growing up? I know there's obviously certain things you can't talk about.
No,
not like you were involved or anything.
No,
Did you ever see them like shady guys, the wise guys? Did you ever come across anyone like that?
Yes, a friend of mine grew up with Westies.
What's that?
The West Side, the Irish mob.
Okay.
And people he grew up with were actually members and stuff. I remember seeing him in the bars, like at work. I'd go hang out with him on a Friday night, and some of the guys are wise guys. They were cool. I mean, they always remembered your name, which I thought was pretty pretty interesting.
They had a lot of class.
They respected, let's say, people who did the right thing. If you weren't in that group and you did the wrong thing, well, you get in trouble. But if someone was ill in the neighborhood, they were very, let's say, neighborhood oriented. They'd have rackets. They might be in a bar. The bar would donate the bar bill, and they would, a certain amount of it, and people would go there and give money. Most of these guys lived in apartments. They really didn't have much, but they figured, hey, if the guy's not doing well, give him my paycheck because I can make another one next week. So they weren't selfish in that sense.
They were tightly knit.
Tightly knit, yes. Yeah. Like I went to a wedding where, I guess, friends of boys, the old school guys, all blue collar workers. And then my friend told me how much money came from that table. And it was like $8,000.
Wow.
From 4 couples. I was like, wow.
Give them back though, yeah. It's like family almost, you grow up with these people. You see them
my friend used to say, he goes, I thank God I'm not pushing daisies up like half my other friends. So when someone was ill, they did the right thing.
That's good.
I guess maybe they believed it came back to them.
I mean, it's changed a lot. Like, look at it now, because like back then it was almost like a self-regulating society. Like New York itself was heavily run by, the commission, all those guys, the wise guys, who had their own underground kind of like facility going. Yeah. The cops were always trying to combat them. You had Rudy Giuliani, right?
Yeah.
his force
I
and all that
think
stuff.
to me, I think it was a balance.
What do you mean? Like with the mob
Yeah,
present?
like
Yeah.
I was in the union. The mobs were in the union.
Mhm.
We had a lot of work. You know, maybe they convinced owners to hire union laborers. You know, however they did it.
With those contracts, like some of them, I was talking about it yesterday with my friend. They have there's these contracts that last like 100 years, so they're not done until 2050. Like some of those Italian made these mob contracts, which basically they did. I think it's called vertical something in business where you basically from the bottom to the top, you run every aspect. So that way you don't have to use a third party. Everything comes from you. So they were doing that with the construction, the concrete, all the contracts were basically owned by them. And if you didn't sign their contract, you couldn't sign with anybody else.
Wow.
Because they limited all the companies, and basically it was this selection, that selection, or this one, and all three of them were basically connected. You know?
Yeah.
They kind of just
Well,
solidified
you didn't
that.
want to get involved in that
Mhm.
because they controlled everything about you.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been a carpenter for?
Since high school.
So you got
But
into
I
the
got
union
into the
early?
union. I got into the union in 1986, January.
Got you. And so how many years was that before you got into the union?
4,
Was it like a different
3,
experience
4.
at all, or just your contract changed, right?
You mean like from work before I got into the union?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing home improvement stuff. Totally different. You
Mm.
know, you get into the union, you're doing commercial work.
Mhm.
Totally different aspect of work.
So what's it like today?
Everything's large.
What's it
you
like right
know?
now when you're a carpenter? Because when I think of a carpenter, I assume like someone's making tables, they have like a private shop.
No,
But obviously
well,
you're a
that's
union man,
if
you
you're
know?
a cabinet maker, you might be doing that.
That's true. So what's your niche?
Well, right now I'm doing glass and metal, like storefront material,
Mm-hmm.
mirrors, moldings, fancy stainless steel base, stuff like that. Because as the years went on, they got rid of maybe they went from doing a lot of woodwork, crown molding,
Mm-hmm.
to metal moldings. You know.
So you know all types of welding methods? There's like 4 different
Well,
kinds.
I'm not much of a welder. We have an iron worker that
Gotcha.
works for us that he would
Mm.
do the welding.
So I thought carpentry was like just wood. For some reason,
No,
I correlate carpentry
metal
with
stud.
wood.
No, there's a lot. I mean, I worked at the air train in Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and that was we were putting down like Q decking, stainless steel.
Okay. What's the most
You know,
proud
and
project
there's
you have?
all metal there. Excuse me.
What's your most proud project? Like one of the biggest achievements as a carpenter?
Oh, it's when you're growing up, when you're younger. These jobs that you do, like whoa, major accomplishments, and you
Mm-hmm.
remember them. But as you get older, you've done so many that it's like, oh, all right, that was a nice job, but it's over, and you don't pat yourself on the back as much as you used to when you were younger. When I was young, I could remember every job I went to. Now that you're older, someone will say, "I remember when you were on this job," and you're like, you don't remember. They all blend.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, the air train was a good job at Jamaica train station. Did a
What
lot of,
about it?
a lot of, well, we were there for almost 2 years,
Mm.
working through the night, and a lot of heavy, hard work, working in all kinds of weather, and you get to see it. It's a public space, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good.
Yeah, so you can come back and admire it. Like, have you ever been on that train again or that area?
Oh yeah.
And you're like, wow.
One time I took the Long Island Railroad out to Long Island, and I had to transfer, and you stop and you're looking up, and you look in the booth, the waiting area, and like I remember having coffee in here with the
Mhm.
guys.
That's a pretty good
And
memory. That's
yeah, and
cool.
you check out the work, and it's like wow,
Yeah, it's pretty admirable. I mean, like
yeah.
my dad told me he helped build the Twin Towers. No, Empire State Building, I
Right.
believe. Yeah.
No, no. Oh yeah, maybe the Empire State, but that was. Yeah, it's possible.
Or was
Might
it the
have been
World
young.
Trade Center? No, it was the World Trade Center.
World Trade
It was the
Center.
World Trade, yeah.
Yeah,
And
74.
he was telling me that like anytime my grandfather saw it, he would just like stand there and I'd just admire. Because obviously he didn't build it himself and like it took years and years and years. But like when you
Right.
take part in something that's so magnificent, you just look at it, you
No,
know,
you look at it and you think back of your friends who were there,
Mhm. Hanging on the steel bars without any straps. He told me that like I've heard stories of people that would just sit up there with no harness on, eating lunch on a bar. Have you seen that picture?
yeah,
I like
that was
one.
the MetLife building.
Mm.
Now, a friend of mine, he worked at the World Trade Center, and he told me it was so hot upstairs, and this is when they used to drink on a job. They went to one corner and they blew the window out, and then they broke the window in the opposite corner. And you can imagine blowing a window out at like the 88th floor or something.
Those shards coming down and like
Wherever they went,
1,000
maybe
miles
there
an
was a
hour.
scaffold below. I don't know,
Mhm.
just to get air
It's
because it
pretty
was so
funny.
hot up there.
Yeah, but there was a lot of less rules then. Now the regulations are crazy. Like, how is it working? Like, you have to. Do you
It's a
keep in
little-
mind all the rules and stuff? Like, are there a lot of regulations
Well,
when you
yeah,
work?
well,
day-to-day?
you grow into them.
Like, which ones?
I'm just saying, like ladder use.
Mm.
You can't lean a ladder. You can't stand too high on the ladder. I mean, I'm not saying that people don't.
I was gonna
They
say.
still do it when they have to.
Yeah, exactly.
And just make sure you do it carefully. And maybe someone, you have your friend, hey, hold a ladder for me while I do this real.
Yeah.
And you could, stuff like that. But they're a lot more safety conscious.
Mm.
Are there less accidents? I guess so. But there are still crazy accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Accidents.
Have you witnessed any? Like, seen scaffold fall apart?
No, I've seen people cut
Oh.
their fingers pretty bad and
Okay.
this and that.
Yeah, I've heard about a
But-
lot of falls. It used to be really common back in the day. It actually happened to my grandfather as well.
Yeah.
There was a scaffold that fell apart. He took a fall. Some people that he knew also same thing happened. Pretty unfortunate, but I mean that's one of the good things about regulations is that now you can make sure things are tidy, that everything's checked 4 times. That when you get to the job,
Yeah.
you're doing the labor, your health isn't at risk.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
pretty scary.
that is good.
Mhm.
I'm not saying you can't talk bad against safety, but sometimes it could be pushed too much
Of
to the
course.
point where you'll get hurt worrying about whether you're doing the right thing or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You're
I've
not
had that before.
concentrating on what you're doing.
Exactly. I had that same experience. I was driving, and it was my first year with my license, and my sister sitting next to me has less driving experience, but who judged my driving.
Yeah.
And I felt really conscious about every move I make because I thought no matter what I do, how fast I drive, or if I move into a lane and don't turn on blinker, my mom's going to find out and they're just going to talk about me. They're going to judge me. So all I was thinking about while I was driving is how much I shouldn't aggravate her or how good of a driver I should be. And then I lost consciousness, and then I didn't lose consciousness, but I
No.
wasn't paying attention to exactly what I was doing.
Is you're worried about what she's thinking?
Exactly. And I was looking at her at the same time when I shouldn't have. I should have been looking at my mirrors and the when I had the rear view. And this is in Brooklyn. We're driving straight, and I was about to go into the right lane and pass the guy in front of me because he's going like 10 miles an hour, dangerously slow.
Right.
I was gonna go around him and then hesitate. I stopped. I said, I'm gonna do it again. And I waited like a full minute to do it again, and then I realized it was an 18-wheeler parked. Then I dip in to check, and then for a second it just clips my mirror. But the mirror didn't fall off. It just it folded and it cracked a little bit on the light on the outside. The next thing you know, I had to hear from my parents. I was gonna tell them myself, but I didn't get the chance to.
Right.
Because I was driving, and then I got in trouble and all that shit. It was because I wasn't paying attention. I was really concerned about the safety and like being 1,000% just on track when I didn't even know what I was doing. And then I lost focus, and then I could have actually harmed myself thinking
Yeah.
too much about the regulations. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Or it's like the mother or the father who's yelling at his kids in the back to shut up, and then he rear ends someone. Yeah.
I've had that before. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was looking at me on the highway. Have you ever been threatened to get smacked on the highway? You ever done that?
And when I was, oh yeah,
Yeah, in the back seat, just fucking around with your siblings.
that's what the co-pilot was for.
Yeah.
So she could reach around and crack you right, without your father taking his eyes off the wheel.
What was the weapon? It was just her hand. My mom used to grab anything and everything. Windex, keys, bottle, her shoe,
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
her hand. It was always the hand. Grab your leg and start pinching or whatever it was.
Yep.
Or just stop the car. I never had that. One time I
No.
did. I managed. I was so bad.
Parents probably get arrested for that nowadays. Imagine
Yeah, right.
stopping the car, open the back door,
Mm-hmm.
start throwing punches in there.
No, I do. I definitely think there's.
It would be put on phone on the
Mhm.
video, right? Next thing you know, it's all over the
Yeah,
news.
and he gets canceled as a parent. He's no longer a father.
Yeah.
Gets his rights
Lose-
taken away.
yeah.
He goes to jail for disciplining. No, obviously I don't condone domestic abuse and stuff like that, but there's definitely something to be said about kids that get hit are usually more respectful when they're older, they're more considerate. I got hit as a kid,
I did.
and I warranted a lot of the hits that I got. I had coming my way.
Right.
I deserved them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, talking like abuse to the point
No.
where you're going to school with scars. Like, look at this one.
Yeah.
Like an old sea captain in a bar,
Yeah.
Check out how this happened, right?
Antonio, he was on the podcast. He was telling me, he was like, any sea story you hear, if it starts with "you won't believe this" and if it ends with "I swear it's true," it's a sea story and it's bullshit. That's usually how they go. Like,
No.
"Oh, you want to hear this one? You won't believe it."
Right.
And they go on a song and dance.
There was a cartoon like that where the the guy's going, "You wouldn't believe. Wait till you hear how I got this." And they had a peg head. You know?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I miss those old sitcoms, stuff like that. What was one of your favorites?
Growing up, Archie Bunker, All in the Family, Manfred and Son. They were
Okay.
great.
Did you ever watch those big guys like Don Rickles? Did you watch those Showtimes? Like the comedy specials or the roasts?
Oh yeah,
Sinatra,
yeah, those roasts,
mm-hmm.
they were good.
Sammy Davis. Those guys are funny, man.
They were.
I miss them because like you could really say whatever you wanted on national TV back then.
Don Rickle, he was famous for that.
He was so funny, man.
He was so sarcastic.
He's my hero, man. And comedically,
Yeah.
he's so funny because like he could just say whatever. Like, the only time you've ever seen an inauguration for president where he gets made fun of badly is Don Rickles and Ronald Reagan. You know,
Right.
it was pretty cool. And then you saw him do it again to Frank Sinatra every night. They were on stage together, or really just anybody. He was in a black hole once, and he was talking about he was making black jokes in this this facility, like, and most of the crowd is black, and they're loving it, you know. And you can't do that these days. It was like
People are too sensitive.
he would make Jew jokes about himself. I mean, it was hilarious, you know. It was a feedback kind of thing. It was like pick on myself, pick on you, we all pick on each other, you know. It's kind of like
Yeah, 'cause
that's how it should be, you know.
People were thicker, and they just blew it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But like I said, everything's so sensitive nowadays. I don't even watch regular TV.
Netflix.
No.
What do you read a lot of books? You make a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't read that much. I wish I read more.
True. Do you have any
You
like
know?
regrets about high school, like not reading enough in high school, taking some
Yeah.
work seriously?
Yeah.
Which work?
Well, I went to McClancy, as you know. In the first 3 years, I did very well. Principals list and everything. Not the bad side, the good side.
Mm-hmm. I've been on both as well.
Okay. Both sides of the wall.
Yeah.
I had a great time in school. And I guess towards the end of junior year, I realized I'm not going to college. I wasn't going to go. So you kind of kick back. And you say to yourself, it goes so fast. Why not do well in it?
True.
You know, it's like, what are you battling for? You want to run out and go into the open world and succeed? Well, guess what? You need a foundation. And your foundation is knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or the ability to learn.
You can learn through experience. I mean, like having the amount of years you have as a carpenter. How do you keep it interesting?
Every job's different.
That's true.
The people you work with, the characters, it's like a cast of characters. You know,
there's ones you like, there's ones you don't like.
Guys that can't stand that you have to learn how to deal with. And you have, you know, people that you like. And then you start talking too much, you get nothing done.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I have a lot of that problems in my life.
But you work, sometimes you work with guys and they know exactly what you're going to do, and it just runs smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
You get into a pattern. Like when you change jobs on different sites, how long do they last each job? And then also, do you move with the same crew to a new site?
Well, it all depends on the size of your company and the type of work you're doing. Years ago, I worked with a construction outfit. They were a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be on a job for 6 months, 4 months, year, 3 years, same crew. People would come and go in that crew, but sometimes you work with the same guy for a year. Great. Become friends. You see him more than you see your friends that you went to school with.
Exactly, yeah.
And you become friends,
you
know? And like the job I'm on now, company, it's maybe 18 guys. And sometimes you're on a job for a day. You got to carry your tools home, you know, and I'm in the next day to another job location. And that gets old very fast, especially as you get older. You know, a lot of tools, you don't want to carry them home.
What kind?
Hammers, clamps,
do you have like
files.
Do you have any go-to tools, like the old ones that lasted you forever? Like old reliable type?
Yeah.
Do you have a hammer that's like 70 years old that you've never...
Oh, if you lose your hammer, it's like...
it's bad luck?
Yeah, it's like your dog dying.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you have one...
If you have a hammer for so long...
That's true.
And you lose it, even someone replace it, you want the old one back.
That's true, of course.
You know, it's fun, it's funny.
Is it a wooden handle?
Well, leather handles, you know.
Oh, so you like customize? I mean, it's for comfort. You're gonna use it every day, right?
And some jobs, you know, you might go to, and they're just so unorganized, it throws you off, and you could lose like a tool a day. It's like, It aggravates you.
Mm-hmm. Funny how most people be pissed off about some other stuff, but really it's the tools, the
Yeah,
small things that matter.
yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if you've had it for a while,
that's
or
true.
if someone gave it to you.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever make any yourself? I've seen you. I remember when you were
No,
polishing an axe once. I saw you sanding
I
it.
fix things.
Yeah.
Making tools? No, not really.
I've noticed you're really creative. I mean, anybody that knows you, there's a saying from like people that know Anthony Chorzepa. They say there's only one Anthony in this world,
Yeah, right.
and and it's Anthony. And I mean, like you have this ability. I've watched you just create stuff like in the blue. I've seen your mind at work when you just sit there, like
What?
when
Yeah.
someone's talking to you and you're not responding, you're just looking at something. And we're like, Anthony's doing
Yeah.
Anthony now.
That might be an attention deficit disorder or something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you're focused
But
on something else.
yeah, but it's funny. We were just talking about that at work today. Talking to a younger guy. I was telling him, like when you work at home, there's things on the job that you could use at home. You're throwing it out here. What are you going to do? You're going to go home and then go buy it? It's money out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
If they're throwing it out, take it.
Of course.
So I've become like the big recycler. People make fun of me. They say, I never passed the dumpster that I haven't looked in.
That's humbling though. I like that.
I got dumpster stories. They're a mile long, But, being able to reuse something,
yeah,
I guess it's like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a feeling of,
it's innovative.
I saved this product from going in the garbage or.
Do you have any in your house currently?
What?
Like a bench that you've made or a shoe
Well,
rack?
lots of things, yeah.
Like what?
I have birdhouses that I've made when I hurt my knee in 1993. They're decorations in the house. I have radiator covers that are raised panel oak, and they were an old oak file cabinet that they threw out in the building across, probably from World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I took it home, looking at it. Oh, I'm going to refurbish this thing, and then after a couple months or a month, you say, something? I know what I'm going to make with this. You make radiator covers.
How do you make a radiator cover? You're talking about the old school one.
Yeah, wood.
The big metal
Sides. You put the grill in the front, piece of stone on top.
Okay. Gotcha.
And they're still there, and they're beautiful. And they were recycled from an old file cabinet.
I'm really interested in stuff like that. I also I was telling someone the story about how you fixed the chimney in the Scoutmaster cabin, camp pouch.
Oh yeah, we relocated.
And then you had it facing true north, and you shaped.
That was we made a compass.
You made a compass. What tools?
I took a piece of stainless steel from work, and I have a plasma cutter.
Is that with water?
It's compressed air and an electric. You could just burn anything you want in metal. It's like a marker.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just hold it, and wherever you press that trigger and follow it, it burns. Burns right through the metal. So we made a medallion. We wrote north, south, east, and west on it.
Mm-hmm.
I made lines in it with the grinder.
Yep, I saw that.
And then I rubbed it with like black paint, and then polished it. So all the lines were like were enhanced, and we put that up. And it was a piece of stainless steel that they were throwing out.
But look at how it changed, kind of like just that small piece.
It's
one small detail it's a conversation piece. It's interesting to look at.
Exactly.
It's so creative because I saw it and Kim was like, "Guess who made this?" And I was looking at it. And I saw how intricate it was, and I was like, "Who would get so creative with something so simple?" I was like, "Was it Anthony?" She's like, "Bingo." That's pretty cool. You weren't there that weekend.
Too much time on my hands.
Yeah. I mean, it's good though because you get to be creative. Like when you're camping, like when you're sawing wood or you're chopping with an axe or you're out looking for wood, you let your mind explore. That's something I really like about camping, and like you're just in the wilderness. You get to find new things to do, new hobbies.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about when you're growing up, sitting in a house or going out and doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it builds a foundation. And, creativity is also. Maybe it's in you.
Mm-hmm. I think everybody has creativity. That's
you do. They find different things.
But not if you're at home.
No, but look what you created here.
That's true. But I would prefer to do it outside if I could. I like spending more time outside than I do.
Well, when this pandemic is over, think about it. If you could set this up, you can go anywhere.
That's true.
You could do this on a beach if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a restaurant,
No, it's
different
definitely it's viable.
locations.
Of course.
You could do it anywhere.
There's really nothing stopping me right now besides the cold. I feel like, would you have any advice for kids that want to get like become more creative or just more diligent, but all they do is sit at home? They're almost trapped to now. You know, it's the way of the world.
You got to join clubs. You know.
What if they can't? Can't go outside because I know you. Do you still bike to work in the winter?
Yeah.
Every day of the year?
What do you mean, like outside or?
Yeah. 'Cause you said you bike, right? It's like a street bike, thin tires.
Yeah. Yeah. Bike ride.
Is it the
No,
fast
right
thing?
now I'm riding my son's bike because my other one took a dump.
Gotcha.
So I'll ride anything that'll get me to work.
Really? So
Yeah.
that I've noticed you have like great fitness for your age because
Oh.
a lot of people your age aren't.
I wish I was a better fit, but
It's
like
not
I
that
said, I'm like in the middle. I would say,
bad.
not at the top, not at the bottom.
So you biked to work this morning and you biked back
No,
home?
no, I didn't. I took
Gotcha.
my car.
So what would be the
But-
deciding factor between biking to work, driving? Cold, ice.
Convenience if I have to carry, how much stuff I have to carry.
Interesting.
But
though.
for the most part, I was riding my bike.
I was doing that in the summer. I had a job in Brooklyn. So I'd bike there. It was like 6 miles there, 6 miles back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But
How
I
long
hit-
is your trip? Like 10?
Not the same as yours, 6-7 miles. It's from my house to Manhattan side of the 59th Street Bridge, 5.1 miles. So
Mhm.
anything extra is
Did you ever go to the Williamsburg Bridge?
all the time.
That one's hard. It's very steep. you
Yeah,
know?
it's long.
But once you
It's nice.
cruise, once you get to the top, you don't have to pedal. You know, it's all about braking at that point. You're
Yeah.
at the bottom. Once you get to Manhattan, on the bottom of the Williamsburg Bridge, you get a ticket if there's a cop there.
No, for what?
So you know how as soon as you get to the end,
In Brooklyn.
no, from Brooklyn to Manhattan, the
Right.
Manhattan entrance. When you finally get to Manhattan, there's a little stop and there's like a stop sign that's barely visible.
Oh, I don't even.
You know what I'm talking
I
about?
haven't been there in a while. I haven't seen that stuff.
So there's like a pavement. You remember like when you come off the bridge, you go to
Sidewalk.
pavement.
yeah, and then
sidewalk,
there's like a ramp
it's
if
like
you
a
go
drop.
straight.
But no, it's like a drop almost. Like a divot.
Yeah,
It's not really a ramp. It's more just like a.
yeah.
that. And
But
they
you're
do it
not
for a
supposed
reason.
to go that way,
They do it for a
really.
reason. Exactly. Yeah, because you're
Oh,
supposed to curve.
I jumped that.
Yeah, I do too. And I watched a guy get a ticket.
Really?
And someone made a video about that. It had millions of views. And he was like, "Why are you giving me a ticket right now?" And we're going through, and he's like, "You can't because of legislation." Blah blah blah. Basically, you're supposed to go down the bridge, which is very.
Well,
high
it is.
speed.
It is a populated
Make a left.
area.
That's true.
I mean, you think about
There's
people
traffic
walking
everywhere.
back and forth.
Mhm.
Then you have bicycles going back and forth. You have people walking.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it's
you have
very inconveniently placed,
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
and the paint isn't that visible. They expect you to turn left. You're supposed to like,
Yeah, you're supposed to turn left.
and then go back
and
straight
then
again. And then reroute. I don't really like
if
that.
no one's there, you go right.
Mm-hmm.
Go right over that thing.
Exactly. I mean, that's the way I see it. But have you ever had any experiences on a bike where, like, because me personally, I've been hit by a car before. It wasn't anything serious. I mean, they just bent my front wheel was literally a 90-degree angle, so it was straight, and then it was curved like that. I had to bend it back, and I went home on a wobble
Oh,
for 2.5 miles. But
I've fallen a few times.
like skid,
I
like jackknife off the front.
I was skidding on the green going down Second Avenue, and I was going pretty fast. It was starting to rain, drizzling,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody made a quick left cut in front of me.
I hate that.
So I skidded, and my bicycle was sliding sideways. When I got to the end of that green path, the tire grabbed, and it just rolled under, bent. I had to walk it 30 blocks to go to work.
How'd you get home? Train?
I left my bicycle at work, and Derek came by one day. I had to
Mm.
bring some stuff home. Incorporated it.
Yeah, you just threw it in.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of change with biking and stuff like that.
Slipped on oil.
Yeah, how?
Con Ed was pumping the manhole out,
Mhm.
on, and the whole road was greasy. I didn't see it. As soon as I went, right down I went. And they denied it.
Mm.
But I was all right there.
I've had experiences too, like with just dumb drivers
Ice.
cutting me off.
I slipped. I thought I broke my wrist, but I didn't. Another time, I was going into Queens from the 59th Street Bridge. It was windy, and they had that construction fence blowing.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching it, and I was riding. All of a sudden, the wind came, and it got stuck in the pedals. And it literally stopped me short, and I just tipped over.
Did
had-
you catch yourself?
It was like I felt like a fish in a net. I had to pull out a knife and cut all the
Really?
orange netting out of the
Oh, I know what
pedals.
you're
It
talking
got
about. Yeah,
stuck in the tire. It was funny.
that's the worst. Like when you're bike riding and
I
like,
think I was riding. It was an.
yeah, have
And
you
it
ever got a
tipped
twig
over.
in your gears? You ever had that? Like a twig just goes into your gears.
Yeah, stuff
It
kicked
just
up.
gets stuck. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
It never happens, but the one time you don't want it to, it does. You know. I've caught a flat before at the worst time.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to catch
All
an
flats are
LA
bad.
train. I know, right? I was trying to catch an LA train, and I had 5 minutes, and the GPS said 2, and I was like, bet. But it was a couple miles away, and I was speeding on my bike, just going as fast as I can. And all you know is, and then the next thing you know, I feel my back tire, like the rims, like
Sliding out.
exactly. I was like, oh. So I had to walk it. I missed the train, and I
Yeah.
had to go back to the bike shop. And then I was like 13. No, I was probably like 14 or 15. And of course, I didn't have cash on me. And they're like, oh, you need $60 for a new tire with the tube, blah blah blah. They taxed me because I was a kid, you know.
Yeah.
Took advantage of me, so I paid it. All pissed off because that was my saved up money. And then I had to walk to the LIRR. It was unfortunate. I mean, like I've only had a couple flats in my life, but they suck, you know.
Yeah,
for
they
a long
do.
time. I recently
That's
learned how to
funny.
change a tire though.
Yeah,
It
you
was
have
pretty
to
cool.
know how to do.
Mhm. Crazy, like I don't know anything about cars, and I realized I saw you and Derek fixed up. What car is that?
67 Firebird.
It's a beauty, by the way.
Yeah. I had that car since 1985.
I saw a picture with you driving and Derek as a baby in the passenger seat, right? And then, did you guys take the picture again? You recreate that one?
No, we should.
You should, man.
Yeah.
That'd be adorable. You know, just father and son again. But you guys fixed the car together, right?
Well, a friend of mine had done it.
So what happened to it initially that like it needed fixing? It was old.
Well, I bought it off of someone, and it was primed gray. And
Now it's a navy blue.
oh, it's a light, yeah, like a light.
Mm.
And what happened was, you're riding it as a kid, my 20s, and it was either you fix it up or it's gonna just slowly fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked a friend of mine who does that type of work, and he took it and he had it for like 2 years. I bartered with him and I gave him money, and then he redid it, and then I bought the place in Hampton Bays, and I was building something, and the car got neglected for years, and it's started getting a little rusty underneath, and the motor needed some work. So phase 2 started working on it. He was available. He got interested.
Mm-hmm.
So if he didn't, probably still wouldn't have it running right now.
Is it in the garage? Is
It's
it
in a garage right now. It's nice and safe.
at home or in the Hamptons?
It's in Hampton Bays.
Gotcha.
So he worked on it. He spent a couple of years on
Mhm.
weekends.
I saw his
We
pictures.
pulled
of
the
progress.
engine out.
Yeah.
Yeah, changed some things on the engine, and
How do you know how to use like to rebuild or at least maintain an engine? I have no idea when it comes to that. I'd be lost.
you gotta learn.
How'd you
It's-
learn? How'd you pick it up?
From when you're a kid, you buy $900 cars, and things need to be fixed. Your friend might show you how to do something, and when you have to learn how to do something, otherwise you're gonna pay a fortune
Mm-hmm.
to fix it. You learn how to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of knowledge you have that's very useful. A lot of people have like these degrees I see, and like
You don't get it overnight,
that's true. It's
but you also
experience.
have to be interested in it to
Mhm.
do it,
Yeah, that's true.
and you need a chance. So like I said, once again, like we were saying, some kids don't get that chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate though, but that's the way it is.
Yeah,
Or I feel like
but
most
if
of it
you
is
really want to, you can.
you will exactly. Yeah,
You could either get a job in a gas station down the block.
a lot of people limit themselves though,
Yeah, they don't. They just
or maybe because
blow
like
it
their
off.
parents expect something else of them. I have a friend who won't settle for less than a doctorate because their parents want them to become a doctor. Pretty sad when you see something like that. You just see like getting into carpentry or at least doing it. Was it one of your passions? Like, do you enjoy doing it? Do you like it?
I wanted to be a landscape architect. I was in high school. Actually, before high school, and I was going to go to John Bound High School.
I've been
and
there.
then, right, and then all of a sudden, all my friends were going to McClancy. So I went, but I still had that passion for like landscaping. So I used to cut lawns as a kid and do a little more weeding and planting bushes for
Some
people and stuff in
gravel,
the
a
neighborhood.
nice path.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, mulch.
Because you're creating things.
And it looks so nice, you know?
Yeah.
True.
And then after high school, I wound up doing a little bit of home improvement. Still doing landscape. I still love doing landscaping. It's instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I started doing the home improvement. And a friend of mine offered me a job in the union. I was living in Hampton Bays at the time, and I came in and I took it.
Have you ever looked back? Any other fields you would want to partake in, a different kind of occupation? It's never too late, you know, because some people have like the idea it's like, you know, I'm close to my pension. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Like,
No, well, maybe different types of carpentry, post and beam.
what about like building a log house?
Yeah, like that.
Okay,
That
that's
would,
dope. I love.
yeah, that,
That's pretty cool. I would want to build one with you. Would
yeah. I mean, that would be
if you
fun.
would do it? That'd be pretty
I don't
cool.
know.
It's something you could
It's a lot of
admire.
work.
What about resin tables? Have you seen those, like the river
I've watched.
tables?
Yeah, I've seen them.
They take a slab basically out of a giant log, and then
Yeah,
they cut it in half, and then they flip that
right.
way.
The live edge to the middle.
The live edge is in the middle, and then they fill it with resin from the top, so that way it flows. And then when it seals, you see the flow in the bubbles, you know, and the bubbles stay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mhm.
Am I into it?
Mhm. Ever built anything like that you still have, like
Other things.
aside from the radiator and stuff like that, like anything that you could like, maybe like a cabin or something like that?
I built a bungalow in my mother's.
Really?
Did that.
What does it look like?
Yeah.
A
Little-
bungalow, like
Yeah, it's like an 18 by 20 studio. It's all
Hmm.
exposed beam.
Do you like that look?
Built my garage.
Oh wow. Yeah, and
Make cabinets.
Derek was
There's a
telling me
lot of
that
stuff.
your house in the Hamptons. Derek told me that the house in the Hamptons, you've been working on it forever, right?
Well,
He was
the
like,
house have to start working on.
he was like, my dad refuses to get outside help. He wants to do it himself, slowly. And he told me that, you guys were doing, was it plumbing in the basement?
Yeah.
That took a while.
Oh, I dug the basement out.
Yeah, he was like, my dad decided to do a new project.
I made it 2 feet deeper.
Wow. How tall is it now? The ceilings?
8 feet.
Not bad. Was that like, what made you want to? It was just short.
Yeah, and
Oh, you couldn't stand?
the foundation, all the cement blocks were loose.
Mhm.
Cement wasn't good. So it's like if you're gonna fix a house up above, you need a good foundation.
Mhm.
Just said, well, I'm gonna dig the basement out. How hard could it be? Once you start digging, it's a lot of dirt.
Mhm.
I bought a conveyor belt, pull the dirt out, because I realized my knees wouldn't climbing up and down stairs with buckets.
Wait, you built a conveyor belt?
I bought one.
You bought one? Okay. How did it work? You just sent it up?
I put it in the staircase, put a dirt on it. It's got a rubber belt, right up and into the truck it goes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty. I like stuff like that. Just like
There's still a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
digging, but then you have to pour footings, and
Exactly. Yeah.
they saved most of the cement blocks. They came clean and put them back up. A lot of work. It took a couple of years.
I noticed what you were saying about like saving materials and stuff like that and recycling them. For me, I did that with rebar. I've done it with a bunch of things, like where you could take the materials and just reuse it. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty fun because when you see the final result and it's something that you're proud of, but it's also like creative. Because I forgot what I did. One of my Eagle badges was to create a home appliance tool for family life, and I made something where the family you could put. It was a block of wood, not a block. It was a thin piece. I could bring it out right now. You want to see it?
Yeah, let's look at it.
It's disgusting
Come
now.
on. Nice. It holds the.
Basically, I made this for one of my badges where it was like a home appliance tool. Eventually, it just became my thing. But originally, I had it when I lived upstairs. I was with
That's cute.
my siblings, yeah, and we all need our individual places to put our stuff, so like razors, such. Me and my dad shared this, and like this would usually hold the brush for the
Right.
and it would hang down there. It could still hang, but not anymore.
You could probably put a tablet on here now.
It
If
broke.
you wanted to.
Exactly, yeah. So that was also for like while you're combing your hair or brushing your teeth, you could put a phone on there.
There you go.
You know, you just leave it like that. And I the hardest part was angling it. I had to get a piece that pulled it up. So if you want to see
It looks
that,
good. I see it. You have
And
angle
working.
brackets.
yeah, angle brackets, man.
Oh,
No,
wow.
these aren't angle brackets. They were right angle brackets.
Yeah, but you open them up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Tried
That's
it.
nice.
Had to connect it. There's a lot of glue in this, some screws.
Yeah, but it's where you start.
Mm-hmm.
You
This
know.
is my only work so far. I stained this. Originally, this was just a piece of no, not cardboard. It was like plywood.
Plywood.
Mm-hmm. And I think we used it to
Yeah,
like
you got to start somewhere.
exactly.
I did stuff like that.
You remember any of them?
I made my cousin's father the bathroom set, the towel bar, toothbrush holder.
I miss doing arts and crafts,
Give
stuff
that
like
to him.
that. Is that arts and crafts? What would you consider that? Just like woodwork?
The woodwork,
Mm-hmm.
arts and crafts.
I took basketry as a badge in the summer. That was fun. I did
Yeah,
woodworking
making
as
a
well.
basket.
Wood carving. Have you ever carved before?
A little bit here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Not
It's
much.
fun.
Yeah, it is.
Kim is really great at whittling. Have you
Yeah.
seen her?
Yes.
There's a staff with like rings on it, and then has her name in script.
Yeah, she gets into it.
Mm. It's a
That's
good pastime.
That's another business in itself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's really like a passion for her. There's some things that like if you take a passion and make it into a business, it's good to make money off something you're passionate about, but then it could also ruin your passion.
You don't enjoy doing it anymore, the pressure
Mm-hmm.
of having to get things done.
Exactly, yeah. And then you have to produce because you need some. Got to make money, you know. You got to produce.
Right. I like making birdhouses and stuff, and some people say, "Oh, you sell these," and at the rate that I build them, I would never get my money for them. So I would rather make one and give it as a gift to someone.
Mm-hmm.
You
Those
know,
are really
I would
meaningful.
get more satisfaction out of that than maybe phone's ringing.
Go take it.
Gonna hang it up.
I get.
Well, like I said, I would rather
No, turn off.
give it as a gift. Wait, you could hear it?
We're gonna yell over it. No idea.
That's for wrong number. Junk mail.
All right, as you were saying, you'd rather much.
Rather give things away as a gift sometimes to someone who would appreciate it than to make $50,
Of course.
knowing that you didn't make any money.
Yeah.
Building it.
Mm-hmm. I like gifts like that. Like you could build something for someone or give them a gift that
As
like,
long as they appreciate it.
created by hand. Of course, yeah.
It's like, hey, thanks for the gift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. Usually, if it's something
happen.
handmade, you could appreciate it more. Like a bracelet. Like I've seen these leather bracelets where you could just like you could hammer in your initials, or you've had those tools, right?
Well, yeah, but how about Roy? Boy Scout camp. Ranger, the man at the at the exit.
Mm-hmm.
He made buckles. He used to make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
hands. He's Walter would
Got
Pat
a little
English.
closer.
Pat English would go and we would buy all that stuff off of him.
Mm-hmm. It's good, yeah. And sometimes
I
you
appreciate
appreciate
it.
buying it as well, you know? I remember you guys went to the Amish shop and they had a belt loop. No, it was the belt buckle was a revolver, right?
No, that was Roy.
That was Roy?
Roy the Ranger, yes.
Wow.
He made them.
I heard you guys became best friends over there.
Yeah,
just doing stuff
were
together.
close. He made those out of shell casings that he got from the Navy Yard. He used to cut them on an angle and cut them in half and weld them together.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
It's really innovative. Like you meet these creative people because like I'm so with school, all they're really saying is like work, 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 money, 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 degree, 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 you know? And it's really like this
Well,
it's a forward mindset. It is
but that's
ambitious.
where you're going to make a living.
That's true, but what if you're just not passionate about it and there's no creativity and you can't really give an outlet, you know?
Well, then outside of work, you do something.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I appreciate more of the simple jobs. And maybe they're not simple in the workload or in capacity. Like mentally, you still have a lot to do. But I'm saying like the simple job to me is more like construction isn't as complex as you would say like a financier or someone that does accounting. You know, because like to them it's more prestigious. You
All
know,
numbers and this and that.
exactly. There's a lot of degrees. There's a lot of
Carpentry has a lot, depending on the job you're on, it could be insanely crazy with numbers and formulas and trying to put things together and stuff.
that would be seen as simple, but I feel like there's so much complexity and there's so much like beauty to it, you know?
Yeah.
Like when you see a good job done, or like when you make a really nice cut and you have two pieces that fit together perfectly. Like the satisfaction, you know? When you're cutting at an angle and you cut perfectly because you measured three times, you know?
Yeah.
It's really satisfying to look at a final product and because like I've seen you do work and like you're not done until everything is literally done, you know?
Right.
And also to your liking, and I've seen your preference. It's like almost perfect sometimes, you know.
Right.
And it's admirable when you see a project like a final product where everything is in line, it looks great, and it's like aesthetically pleasing, you know.
Right. But another thing too is, as an accountant, you're going to be in an office, same office, staring at the computer board for years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just do that, or do you want to be going around to different jobs and commuting differently every couple months and doing different types of work, different atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what
Yeah, there's
you
a
have
lot
to
of
look at too.
there's negative connotations with working a job like that because people think that it's like it's shooting underneath or like just being complacent. But I think there's a lot of beauty to it, especially like when you could appreciate the work people do. If you see a building or final product, and let's say you're doing a project and it takes you months and years, and you finally admire it, like when you're done. And like you said, as you get older, it's like yeah, next job. You don't really sit back and look at it, but altogether, your portfolio must be insane. Because
Yeah,
all these projects, all these opportunities you've had.
yeah, it does grow.
How many
But
projects do you think you've done?
I don't know,
Dozens?
involved in lots of things.
You leave your initials anywhere? Was it like a
No, I'm not that.
AC?
I don't do that.
No?
I'm not that type of a.
Even if it's
I
like
don't know.
somewhere that no one will see. Just for old sake. You see that on the bars. Like I was in the 9/11 museum.
You know, it's funny you should say that. I enjoy finding messages,
Mm-hmm.
but
You should leave a couple because
I guess
someday
maybe I'm humble. I don't put my name on things.
maybe you should write a joke.
What I always thought was to like take a mason jar,
Mm-hmm.
put pictures of maybe the people who worked on a project, just hide it somewhere in the house. That someday someone will find that.
Mm-hmm. I like stuff like that. I have a time capsule somewhere. I will not reveal where it is, but
Right.
I took pictures and it was like me and all my friends at like 18, no, like 17. We're like, we're gonna look at this in 10 years, 20 years. Stuff like that is pretty cool because you
Yeah,
get
it
to look
is. It
back,
is.
and especially when you can't see it until that endpoint. Like if you have it in your house, you look at it all the time, it loses the value. Like the wow.
Right. It's like when your friend goes, "Oh, I was looking through my papers and I found some pictures,"
Mm-hmm.
and you totally forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
He brings them over. You're like,
Mm-hmm. I like stuff like that. Those are like antiques. That's especially like when someone builds something or they give you a gift that's handmade, you can appreciate it a lot more. Especially because they last longer. If someone gives you like a cologne, I know it's nice, but if would you rather someone give you an applicable like a tool or they carve something? Which one would you rather prefer?
I take it homemade,
Mm-hmm.
definitely over store bought.
Yeah. Have you ever done that for your wife, like homemade gifts?
Yeah. Yeah, I just made it a tablet holder.
Mm.
And a lot of stuff.
Pretty cool. I feel like if a woman could appreciate that, I would love her more. I would choose the woman that appreciates my handmade stuff because I have like this saying now. It's like because there's this thing going around in society like you like a girl, you buy her a bag. The more expensive bag you buy her, the more you like her. And I was like, that's not really indicative of how much you love a woman. It's really just for approval. Maybe
Right.
not, but I mean, there's also gifts and stuff. I'm just saying, like a person you don't know, you're not married to, you don't have really connection with, you're just spoiling them for their attention. I was saying like I'll build my wife a house. I'll raise her kids, but I won't buy a bag.
Right.
I'd rather do that.
Or if you get into their head and you kind of know what they would like to have, you build it for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Without
close.
them asking.
That's close.
Yeah, that's true. Kind of like reading
Because
their preference.
you look at it and go, you knew I wanted this.
Mm-hmm. Took note. That's true. I'm not really into materialism, and I've noticed you're pretty simple as well. A lot of
Yes. Jewelry.
yeah.
I don't care what I drive.
That's true. I mean, honestly, yeah. Like for me, that's why I like bike riding everywhere because I don't really see it as like embarrassing or anything like that. I see it as fitness. I enjoy it. I like being out because you have the breeze hitting you. Really, the commuting is fun, but also for me, it's all about getting from A to B. Like I don't care about when
It's
I do.
convenience.
Yeah, bro, it's A to B. I don't care
It's
about how fast it
freedom of
goes.
movement. You can go anywhere you want on the way to your location. You can stop off whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is the convenience of it. Because nowadays, my biggest peeve is going somewhere and not finding a parking spot. So you have to go with two people. Drive around the block. I'm going to go into the store. Right?
Mm-hmm.
To sit there and try to find a parking spot. Get aggravated. Now
Takes a while
You
sometimes.
don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
That's
ruins
my
a lot of
biggest
experiences.
problem. So the bicycle, stop off, you chain it right in front of the place.
If you could get it stolen. Have you ever gotten a bike stolen?
Yeah, down at World Trade Center.
I had 2 stolen.
Cordless grinder.
What happened?
They cut it. They cut the cable with a cordless grinder.
What is a cordless grinder?
It's a regular grinding wheel, but it's battery operated. Quiet. Stick it in your bag. Put the chain in the bag. You're sitting there cutting it, and people think that you're fumbling with your bag. Meanwhile,
Mhm.
you're cutting the guy's lock off.
Yeah, someone stole mine. It was pretty crazy, and they stole it on a facility of the parks department. And there was 4 cameras pointing at the rack, and I locked it up there. Someone just clipped right through it. I guess they stole my bike. I come outside after I'm done swimming. I'm like, all right, I got a bike home now. And I look down. I don't have a ride home.
Right.
So I had to call my dad. First I go into security and I'm like, where's my bike? And they're like, we don't know. I was like, can you check one of your cameras and see if they work? They go through all 4, none work, because government usually just fucks you over like that, you know? Like they never have this shit together. And out of the 4 cameras that are looking at this one exact spot, none of them work. So the guy gets away with my bike. And a couple days later, I saw someone in my neighborhood. This is in Brooklyn. I saw someone in my neighborhood with the same black frame.
Probably.
Front wheels white,
Yeah.
back wheels blue. And he pulls into a Chili's. He's going to work. And I chased him. I chased him into the kitchen. And I'm behind him. I'm like, yo, let me see your bike real quick. And then I turn around and I realize it's not the same brand. And like I checked every single thing. Because when it's your property, when it's your bike,
You get irate.
no, but also you know every
Yeah.
small detail about it. I know what scratches where. I know how this is that. I know what tape I put on there, or how my wheel looks from this angle. You know. So then I realized it wasn't mine. I forgave him for being present with a bike that looks like mine. You know?
Right.
I kind of felt bad, but at the same time, if that was my bike and someone stole it, I'm hopping them. You know, taking my stuff back, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a big business.
Mm-hmm. That used to be a big thing back in the day.
You
Like stealing
can't
cars.
have anything nice unless you're bringing it in, and there's no lock strong enough to keep someone from taking a bike. It might be a deterrent, but if he wants it, he's getting it.
Think so? Even like they had like
I-
these New York City like bike locks. They said it would take 15 minutes for someone to drill through, and it would be the loudest thing ever.
Well, maybe you can cut it with the grinder.
I'm gonna start trying this. I'm gonna make that my
You don't
business.
know.
Bike stealing.
No, it's you see the way I look at it. You get a good running bicycle,
Mhm.
good quality bike. That's a little beat up. That's not flashy, and then
Mhm.
you're covered.
I have an old school one. I have the gear switches, you know,
Right.
with
That-
the cable so you can pull it.
Yeah.
I use that one. People have eyed it before.
But if you're gonna buy a $3,000 bicycle
Mhm.
and expect to park it
No, you
in the
can't. You have
street
to bring
and
it
go
out
to work,
inside.
it's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be gone.
Especially the carbon fiber ones that you can lift with your pinky. Those are so expensive. I've watched
know.
people lose them.
Even in
Ridiculous.
front of a camera, they'll cut it. They don't care.
By the time they process the report, they go out looking.
They
The guy's
got it.
gone.
The bicycle's sold.
Yeah.
That's
seen that a lot.
unfortunate about society is
Mhm.
that you can't have anything too nice.
Did you ever
And
go on a
if
bike
you-
hunt? I'm sorry.
You need a bike hunt. Looking for your bike?
Yeah. Did you
No.
ever, growing up, did anyone ever steal your bike or your friend's bike? Go around the neighborhoods looking, find the kid, take the bike back. I've done that.
Nah,
I did it
never-
with a
never
scooter,
did.
a couple bikes.
Usually when they were stolen, they were gone.
And they're like, it was obvious. Like, and the funniest thing was like when kids would steal from their own neighbors, or they would steal from a kid that went to the park. They found out where he lived. They'd steal his bike, and they paint it differently, but they keep the wheel the same, everything else except for the body of the bike, and they just like spray paint it terribly.
Well, yeah,
It was so obvious.
yeah.
Take it back immediately, you know. I'm missing stupid stuff like that 'cause it was so obvious, and they'd be like, "No, my bike," you know.
Right, yeah.
They just lie straight to your face. That's the funny thing about kids, and they can get away with it sometimes, you know.
Dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say dumb, just gullible. Or
Yeah.
Not thinking the whole through, you know.
It's happened a lot to me in school. Like you were saying before, like the principal's list being on both sides. For me, it was more of the bad side growing up, you know?
Were you?
Yeah. Just fooling around in class, doing a lot of stupid stuff. Were you talkative as a kid?
In grammar school, I used to get in trouble. There were 2 girls that I would sit next to. They'd laugh at it. It got to the point where if they laughed, I got in trouble. Even if I wasn't.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
anything.
Mhm.
It was funny. I didn't even say anything.
Yeah.
It's not.
What did I do?
Yeah.
I used to say it all the time, but here's the thing: it was like my teacher would move me around, and it was kind of like your classmates become your friends, you know. So anywhere I moved, I was chilling with my friends, you know.
It didn't matter.
Exactly, and that's kind of like it was like my stand-up comedy routine. Like I would go around the classroom, or either I would make fun of the teacher, it was bad, or I would usually just make fun of other students, or just like I would make fun of the situation we're in.
They'd have to put you in a closet with the
What?
jackets in the back, right?
Yeah, the old sliding doors on the track, right? Those old buildings. No, usually they would just put my desk connecting, like touching theirs, the teacher's desk.
Oh, you had to sit next to the teacher.
Yeah. Happened a lot.
And you start talking to her.
Yeah.
She's like, get out of here. Just go somewhere else.
It happened to my guy teachers the most. They'd be like, Massimo, you know what, sit here. And then I'd start talking to them. I would distract them from doing their work.
Yeah.
And to me, it was hilarious. It was comedy.
Oh, that's
Because
funny.
I was distracting them. I was making them laugh. Like, to me, if I can make someone laugh when they're supposed to be mad,
Yeah.
it was a win, you know? Because I just diluted the whole situation.
It's cool.
Especially, like, when it's, like, someone who has to be serious all day, or, like, even when I'm in trouble, if I could get them to laugh, or I could just make the most out of that situation. It's pretty fun, though.
Yeah, it is.
Especially when, like, another kid gets caught for getting in trouble. Like, for something you did, like, I would make some kid laugh, and I knew if he laughed again, he was getting detention. His teacher would be like, be quiet, guys. If I hear another peep, you're going downstairs to so-and-so's room, and you stay in there for the rest of the day. And I look at my friend across, like, eye him. Or, like, someone's reading in class, and we'd do popcorn reading. And then I would read, and then you pass it to someone else, you know? I pass it to him. While he's reading, I'm, like, rubbing his leg or, like, kicking him, you know? Like, blowing in his ear. He would smack me and be like, all right, that's it. Go out, you know?
Yep.
Those are the best experience. Like, messing around in class, like, dying laughter. It was hilarious. It was definitely, there's a lot of disrespectful, like, stuff going on because, like, you're not listening to your teachers. You're being disobedient. But part about just being in the hallway, getting lectured with your friends right next to you, and you're trying so hard not to laugh. Did you ever have that? Like, you go outside and they're like, all right, this is it. And you're just standing with your friends and you're just, like, trying to calm your face so you don't laugh. You try to make eye contact. As soon as you look at each other, you just start bawling laughing. Those are the best. It was such a difficult time because, like, the funniest occurrences happen when you're not supposed to laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Has someone ever told you a joke at a funeral? Like, you're like, oh my.
Well, you see something funny, can't stop laughing. Yes.
You remember any instances?
Not off the top, not in detail enough to talk about. Maybe making fun of someone.
Yeah, of course.
Sitting in.
Yeah, of course. Just think about picking on people, like when they don't know they're getting picked on. It's not nice. It's definitely not the right thing to do, but funny, you know. But there has to be boundaries. Of course, it's like if you know the person too, you could pick on them to their face. It's even funny because then they snap back, you know. Kind of makes you sharp-witted. As a kid, there's a lot of that, you know. Like, your mom's this, what? Like the yo mama jokes as a kid was like a real way for you to sharpen your knives, you know. Come up with new ones. Say a really funny one. Everyone's like, oh, he said that? You gonna take that? You know? Oh, hell no, we're fighting after school. Or like he gives you one back, you know, just jabs, you know?
I remember one time I was working in the Rolex building, and one of the laborers there, he was a funny guy. And he used to talk, and he used to always stutter. Funny, but I didn't understand the reason for the stuttering, you know? And then one day I had to go up to this office to do some work for someone. He was a guy who was in charge of like the closed circuit TVs and stuff, and the Rolex. Started to talk to him about, work related. Started talking like stuttering. Now realized who he was making fun of. I'm staring at this guy. He's stuttering as he's talking. I'm trying to keep a straight face.
It's on purpose?
Oh, he had a problem.
Oh, okay. I thought
he stuttered.
Oh, so he stuttered like your friend. He wasn't.
Well, my friend was always joked around. This is an older guy.
Gotcha.
And he always told a joke. Start stuttering. And it was funny, but I didn't, do the connection. And then all of a sudden I'm working in this office, and the guy's talking to the guy, and he starts talking like this to me. And I made the connection. I tell you, it's very hard to keep a straight face in that situation.
Wait, was it natural? Like, was he making fun of him, or was it like
he was making fun of him? But I didn't,
gotcha.
All this time he would goof on the guy.
Yeah,
but I didn't know the guy or why he was goofing.
So then you meet the guy, it makes sense.
All of a sudden you meet the guy, and
you're like, oh, okay, funny, yeah.
And I was like,
I picked up like some stuff, like especially like when you have like a favorite actor or a favorite comedian, or even just your parents, like you pick up attributes from them, like characteristics and stuff. So if you hang out with people that don't enunciate well or they don't articulate when they speak, likely you're gonna pick up the same habits. It's like it's a household thing. And I was thinking about like comedians that like certain people rub off of really well, and one of them was Dave Chappelle?
No, I don't listen to.
What about Eddie Murphy?
Yeah,
like him.
Right.
Kind of like the way they talk, the way they speak. It's almost like what's the word? It's contagious. It's funny, and like some people like they have like that uppity up, and that's just that quick persona and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny though. Like, and you see people making fun of their boys, like with their stutters and stuff like that. You shouldn't laugh, but it's funny. Like sometimes like the things that you're not allowed to laugh at are usually like the funniest.
The worst.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
It's like, oh my god, I can't believe you just said that.
I,
You're not allowed to say that anymore.
I was on a job and there was a steam fitter there. When he laughed, he sounded like Flipper. You know, like the dolphin. So I go back and I tell my friend, I go, and I'm laughing. I go, there's a guy. When he laughs, he sounds like Flipper. So maybe the next day we're having coffee. And there's the guy doing some work. And he said something to his friend and he started laughing. And all the guys looked at me and realized we all start laughing. And what does my friend do? He goes on his phone, he YouTubes Flipper.
Yeah.
So he starts playing Flipper, laughing. And we're all laughing. And the guy didn't realize why we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's funny, yeah.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I miss stuff like that. I remember you were telling me the other day, you're like, characters that you recognize, like, there are people that are just characters in your life, you know? Maybe not this Flipper guy, but are there any characters that, like, have stuck with you? Like a certain person that you just come across?
A lot of characters.
Any you want to talk about?
Yeah. I had a friend, he passed away, died of cancer. Robert Murphy. I was in the Seabees with him.
What's that?
Part of the Navy.
Okay.
Navy Reserves.
Okay.
He was my cousin's friend, actually, too. I knew him outside.
Mm-hmm.
He was a practical joke. He was very patriotic. Very patriotic. Almost too patriotic, which made him funny. But he liked to play jokes on people all the time. Like, we were standing at muster, you know. Guy had his jacket open. He'd look around and find little pieces of garbage, and he'd just put it in the guy's jacket and just keep putting it in his pocket, you know, to teach him a lesson, to keep his button closed on his jacket. Another time, we were in Camp Lejeune, and they had these old barracks, and they actually had a beer machine, 90 cents for a can of Bud. So I'm watching him, and he's got a load of beer cans, empty ones, and he's sticking them in the machine. What's this guy doing? All of a sudden, he starts, help, the machine's going crazy. He's pulling the empties out, and he's stacking them up all alongside of him. Guys ran, maybe 10 of them, to get free beer, and all the cans were empty. You know?
That's pretty funny. I've met like pranksters like that. You don't see him anymore.
He was constantly. And one time we went to a bar, and it was like a country western bar. And during intermission, there was a group sitting at a table, and they would play. They were like a college kid. They would do Revolutionary War music, flute. But he goes to the bathroom. He comes out. He's got toilet paper hanging out the back of his pants. He's got it wrapped around his head, and he's limping, and he pretends he's Spirit of 76 walking with the flute, you know, past them.
Yeah.
Just things that he would do. Then he sat down with them, and he was playing the spoons, because he was good with that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I met some characters in my life that, like, don't forget. I forgot one of them was I met in camp. Kid with this crazy imagination. He was talking the whole time about random stuff. And at first I was like, he's a sketchy kid. And then you realize, like, this kid views the world way differently than a lot of people, you know? For some reason, some people have, like, this outlet, whether it's, like, a prankster. I met another prankster, too, who, like, at this one camp, he was just tagging everything. He brought spray paint. I know, that's a graffiti. Yeah. And he was also doing other pranks. It was, like, some of them were comical, some were too far. And I was like, no, I couldn't really understand why he was always doing that kind of stuff, you know? It was, like, attention, you think? Like, just
Maybe.
bored. Because for me in school, I would always get bored, stuff like that, too. So I would just start pranking my friends. I feel like I didn't have anything to do.
Maybe it's an overactive imagination, you know? People just can't sit. They try to find humor in things.
So how do you let it out in the appropriate way, you know? Because now we're talking, there's a certain way you can or can't do things, you know? Or express yourself. I don't agree with that, you know?
No.
There's no right or wrong way.
No, we always goof around, work, you know? But,
what?
No, I was just thinking, John, all the other characters.
For me, the best part.
I can't even think of them.
I know, right?
Offhand like this now.
Exactly. You know, the funniest part is, like, when you're driving or you're doing something and you're in a random situation It has nothing to do with your friends. You think of a joke that one of them says, and you're laughing to yourself like hysterically. Does that ever happen? Like, oh my god, like you're dying, and everyone around is like, what is this guy laughing at?
Yeah.
And you can't tell them the story because like they just weren't there.
Yeah, you
and
weren't.
It's not
Yeah.
funny, you know. Like I think of one right now. I could start crying laughing at how funny it is. It was so stupid, you know. Usually the dumbest stuff is hilarious. And I remember it was my friends arguing, and this one time I was I think I was painting with my father, and I thought of thing one of my friends said to the other about one of their sisters. Everyone was like, oh, and then the response was hilarious. It was one of the funniest things I ever heard. And I'm painting, and for some reason that one phrase just comes into my head. I drop the paint, and I'm just dying. I was like, what's going on, you know? What's happening? And everyone's like looking at me like I'm like psycho, you know? Those are the funniest ones because they sit in your head, they come to you randomly. Almost like an epiphany, you know?
Yeah.
You ever get those? You're like, maybe I should do this. Because I know you're really creative. Like, how does it come to you? Do you just like sit on it or just
I don't know.
walk around? You're like, all right, I'll do that.
Yeah, probably. It's what occupies your mind. Yeah. It's something. Think at it.
Is that what you do at home? Because you don't watch TV, right?
I do. I
just-
watch.
You said regular TV.
Yeah, I watch shows.
You just look around for stuff to do.
But you know what it is too. You always have things to do.
Mhm.
So it's like try to figure out, how I can make something,
Mhm.
what I could make it out of that I might
Mhm.
have laying around.
So how do you keep your mind busy? Like if you don't have the ability to like get up and do stuff, get the creativity out. I remember
Draw.
that's true. I've seen you collecting wood before. I remember you taught us a song, a little bit off the top.
Oh yeah.
Did I sing
My
it?
cousin used to sing it.
No? Why not? It's a great song. Little bit off
My-
the top. For
He-
me, for
He
you.
took for you, for me. But off the top, he took for me, for you. The rabbi came with such a knife, I thought he was going to take my life. And all he took was...
That's
Cousin
hilarious.
Janet used to sing that.
That's a great song. Especially if you get it, you know?
Old one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a funny one. I remember when I heard that, I was like, you know what? That's the great part about singing songs while you're doing labor, you know? A lot of people have music, a lot of people talk, but like also just like whistling, you know? You get to express
Well,
yourself
you
while you're doing
change the
these work.
words.
Mm-hmm. Like
Yeah.
freestyle stuff like that. You guys ever do that at work? Or is it just quiet when you guys are there? There's a lot of yapping.
No, there's a lot of goofing around, bullshitting.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that. My friend got into electrician. Like he wants to become an electrician. So right now he's an apprentice, and he's telling me they're letting him do stuff where they're giving him different jobs to do so he
Yeah.
can work up the chain.
Yeah.
And they're all cracking jokes the entire time. You know.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's doing a serious task, and they're all just busting out jokes to see if he's gonna fuck it up or not. You know. He's cranking it, the lever, and if he messes up, something falls apart, or like
yeah,
he has to redo the entire thing. They're like, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it. They're just all poking him, you know, poking his butt, jabbing
Yeah.
him in the stomach. Those are funny. I want to work somewhere like that because right now I'm doing college fully remote, so you can't just
you're
goof around.
stuck. Yeah.
There's no social
You
aspect.
can't, yeah.
That's what you miss
Nice.
out on.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with it.
But what else can you do about it? You can't really stop it, you know.
No. I don't know what to do. Like I said.
Yeah.
Socialize in other ways. Get out and do things.
What? Yeah.
Go crazy.
So I don't want to keep you forever. I mean, like, see, that's the thing about topics, like with the podcast, like you run dry sometimes. Here's the thing, though, it's more just a feedback thing, so you don't have to keep it on one topic at the same time.
No, yeah,
There's certain topics
this is different. The first time I did something like this.
I think it's cool though. I'm glad you came. Was there any topics you had planned in mind, or like, you know what, maybe I'll say this, maybe I'll say that. If you did, now's the time. You know, I want to hear it.
I'm gonna say, if you wanted to talk about like things that influenced you or in life, people that you've met along the way.
Do you have any examples? Love to hear 'em. What would you say was like
Well,
parental?
all right. Oh, one example is like, all right, I have a lot of tools. Remember when I was a teenager, my cousins, and we were helping his friend's father move. Then I met his friend's father. He was a cool guy, and turned out I didn't know he had gotten out of jail, and he was in a motorcycle gang. Charge of it, and a very nice guy. He came out. we were moving stuff, and he had a lot of cool tools. I remember, yeah, he could do anything mechanically. And I asked him, like, how'd you get all these tools? And he goes, well, when I was growing up, I had friends who went off the edge. He started doing drugs, got arrested, and had to sell everything. He goes, and I kept a straight head. He goes, and I used to buy their tools off. We accumulated all that stuff. Like, interesting. And even myself, as I got older, going through life, you see guys selling things, all like he's losing everything. But selling you cash around.
Mhm.
Not that you're stepping on a down. Selling the stuff, you buy the tools. You always use tools. Like,
Mhm.
and I see now, I have a lot of tools. And a lot of tools I've gotten, you don't really buy them for retail price. Get them making deals. You might do a job for someone and
Like a
they're
barter.
looking to get rid of something. I'll take it.
Mhm.
You have that. You don't have to buy. Older, I give tools, you know,
Mhm.
and
Like full circle, you know.
yeah, kind of.
Mhm.
And you always remember what the guy said,
That's true. Like the
like stuff like that.
the
But tools, you can make anything. You
yeah,
have to just know
exactly.
how to use it.
The object itself, like usually they hold a lot of value, you know. I have a pocket knife that grandfather's. I look at it, I'm like, it has a lot of value, even if it's just like an old crappy pocket
Yeah, but
knife,
you
you
can
know.
close your eyes and
Mhm.
you could try to imagine him holding it.
Exactly right.
I have my grandfather's sewing machine. He was a shoemaker. And I took it out of my grandmother's house. I used it a few times, but now it's buried in the basement. And my youngest son, he wants to learn how to use it because he wants to make knife sheaths, you know?
Mhm.
So I'm like, wow, pretty wild.
Mhm. You
So
proud of him?
yeah, so maybe we got to pull it out and
Yeah.
start using it because it's not electric. It's with the foot, with the trundle.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Old school.
And it's a commercial one for making shoes, so you could sew leather with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it must be good for heavy
Yeah,
like
but
leather.
it'd be nice to know how to use it.
Mhm. I
Something
like
pretty
stuff like that,
cool.
especially when you could dig it out of the basement. Like when my grandmother passed away, we were looking through all the stuff she had in the closet, all the old stuff that she brought from Italy to her apartment and then to her final home, and we're looking through it and we're looking at all this stuff, like these relics, stuff she used to use,
And how can you
blankets.
throw it out? It's been
You
around for
can't.
so long.
Yeah, I have one of these blankets that my grandmother knitted. She gave to my dad in college, and then I have it now. It's like it means so much more because it's like if you just think about the person wove each single notch,
Yes,
piece by
it took a
piece.
lot of time.
Exactly. There's a lot of effort involved in that. Makes it worth a lot more than something factory.
My mother made sweaters for all the kids. Same thing, Now we're going through the house. This passed away, and father passed. And you see these sweaters, and who's going to wear them? Come on. Can't get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
She made them,
Yeah,
so you just keep them.
I have the same thing. My grandfather made a jacket for my sister, which toddler.
Right,
He got all the fabric, all the stuff, the patches, the buttons, everything. He got her metrics, measured it, everything perfectly
pretty wild.
for her age. He made it. Has her name, her initial on it. Has like an apple, cool stuff on there, like a couple books, a pencil, a little worm. It's like very kiddish, you know.
Right.
It's bright, has a lot of things going on, and there's no way I'd ever throw that out. You know, there's
No,
no price that
no, yeah,
it can never be worth a certain amount. You know,
right. Like my grandfather, he even made shanks.
what
You
is
know,
that?
like pieces of metal.
Mhm.
Like in jail, the
Yeah, like
shank.
a shank.
Yeah,
Got you.
that he used to cut because he grew up in communist Poland. Well, it was probably before.
Really.
Yeah, when the Tsar was.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so he made all this stuff from scratch, and he
Mm-hmm.
would sharpen it and he'd cut the leather with it. So I have all these shanks stuff, and it's like you can't throw them out.
Yeah.
You save them.
Does he have any cool
It's a sign
stories?
of the times.
Did he ever tell you any cool stories about Poland? Not cool, maybe like
He
interesting
died when
stuff.
I was 5. So
Ah, sorry to hear that. Did he ever serve for them? What was
he
his occupation?
shoemaker,
Okay.
custom shoes. He did make shoes for Lady Bird, who, Lyndon B. Johnson's wife.
You made shoes for her?
Yeah.
Wow. Personal? Like, we need
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, custom shoes, make them and deliver them to. She probably lives in Manhattan somewhere. My mother probably delivered them to.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have to check the cans, I don't know where.
Wait, so he made a shoe for who again?
Lady Bird, which was Lyndon B. Johnson's wife.
Lyndon B. Johnson,
The president.
President.
Yeah.
I don't want to misconstrue that. So
No, yeah.
he personally made shoes for the wife of the president.
Yeah.
So they sought him out because he was great at his craft.
It might have been before he was president. I don't remember when.
He was
my mother told me that.
He was well known for his craft.
Oh yeah, he custom shoes. He was in Manhattan.
And he started off as like a shoe shine?
No, he's still custom shoes. Make shoes,
No, how did he get into that? Like,
I guess he learned it in Poland. Then he came here.
Mm-hmm.
And he opened up a storefront. He had one on the west side in Hell's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And he moved to the east side because the mob was bothering him. They used to come up to you and sell you protection so that someone would mess with your store.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's okay. And then they broke his windows, and they'd walk by the next day. Hey, Pop, I told you should have paid. So after that, he moved to 55th Street. And then he's 55th Street up on the second floor. And he used, like I said, he made boots. He made an outfit for a woman who used to dance burlesque.
Is that a kind of dance?
Yeah, burlesque, like
I've never heard of
the
that.
leather. The raunchy dancing, But she had, boots like up to mid thigh.
Okay.
He made them.
Wow.
He must have enjoyed making them.
That's pretty cool though.
Stuff like that. I remember seeing a picture, and she used to have a snake. She had a skit, it was like vaudeville, I guess. He danced with the snake, and so he made her boots.
That's a pretty interesting story. I mean, like, such a small world, like information like that just gets lost.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be the most crucial information, it's still pretty cool. Like,
it is.
to
We're making shoes from nothing. You got to cut a sole.
Exactly. I mean, maybe where
the
he
leather,
grew up,
you got to stretch the leather, make the shape, have the person come in, try it on, a little tight here, a little loose here, pull it. I don't know how he did it, but
I mean,
sew it.
I guess his upbringing had
high
a lot
heels.
to do with that,
Yeah,
the necessity. You need a shoe, so someone had to make them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's communism that he might have grew up in. I mean, before, I would assume, yeah, that's probably communism.
He was born in 1892.
I don't know who the Polish leader was.
I don't remember.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't know that Polish history that well.
So Lyndon.
But he came here like 1912 or something.
Do you think you carried on his craft in a way? Obviously, you don't make shoes, but precision, the creativity. He's a custom shoemaker,
Yeah.
There's attributes there that I definitely see.
We all share everyone's DNA, right?
That's true. Doesn't mean you're LeBron James, though.
Right. Yeah. No, but I tell you what, the way he built the house, he built a bungalow in Hampton Bays, which I renovated. And it was funny because he had a little bungalow in the back. And I took it apart in the mid-90s and redid it. You could see he grew up with nothing. Because as I took it apart, there was a door underneath the floorboards, And some of the walls were just like filled solid with wood. He used to go to the dumps and pick up wood, bring it home, and try to figure out where to fit it. Nothing matched. It was nuts.
I like stuff like that.
It's like something you'd see in Appalachia.
Yeah. So now when you walk through this stuff and now just doing projects with your boys, it changes your experience,
Yeah, well, now they're learning how to do things the right way.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like the experiences that you wish you could have had, you get to have with someone else, you get to have it with your sons.
Yeah. Well,
it's a good bonding moment. I love doing like DIY projects with my father. Let's say like we're building something or renovating something, or there's always something on his mind. Like we built a deck in the backyard together, and I learned about hurricane ties at like 10 years old from that. And then we're making the foundation.
It sticks in your head.
We're making everything together. The memory, I don't remember anything about the metrics or whatever.
You don't have to.
But I remember each piece of the way, like doing it together, and then you have the final product that we use. Utilize it, you admire it. People come in, they ask how you did it or who made that, who'd you hire, and I'm like, I did it with my dad.
Right.
It's fun.
It is. Well, that's where it starts.
The home, yeah.
And as you get older, or as you do more and more, you become more confident.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, "Oh, let me try doing this. Let me try doing that." Before you know it, you're not afraid to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to
know?
get out there and get your feet
I
wet.
mean, you have people that are afraid to change their car tire.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna go to AAA, or are you gonna sit on the side of the road for 3 hours
Mm-hmm.
and wait? No, fix it yourself.
Exactly. And
You
it's
know?
better to prepare because,
Yeah, I fix everything myself.
that's
Like,
good. I admire that.
if you can.
Exactly. A lot of people say it's arrogance to be the type of person that's like, no, I'll do it myself. Here's the thing: I want to equip myself. I want to learn now, so in a future situation where I can't have access to help, I could help myself.
Yeah.
That's
well,
why.
Yeah, and another thing is too, like, all right, as a carpenter, you only make so much a week, right? But your ideas so costly that you can't afford to do this, do this,
Mhm.
do this, do this. You say, well, how am I going to get it done? Not go broke. Like, well, go sheetrock out, bring the studs home.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I'll put it together myself. And how many times I've gone back to the job, getting stuff that they're throwing out.
Mhm.
You tell the night shift, oh, I'm coming by at 5 o'clock.
Mhm.
You buy them pastries, maybe from the Glendale Bakery,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
bring them over, you drop them off at the night shift. "Ah, thanks a lot. And you park and just unload.
Yeah.
You
That's a
take
good
it,
gesture.
you
That's
take
smart.
everything.
Mhm. It's really innovative.
It's yeah, it was so much waste.
It's great for the mind.
Yeah, I brought Derek to the jobs.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I guess you learn to appreciate, stuff when you go get it, and
Mhm. Have you seen those
you know,
monuments where it's like people do these projects where it's completely recycled? Like every piece of
yeah,
it was
yeah,
screws they found or.
yeah, you gotta admire it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I want to do something like that. I want to like admire that.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Like, you talk to a lot of the older guys in the union. If they did their basement over, they have a story for everything. They know what job that was from.
Mm.
Goldman Sachs. They know who the foreman was, how we got it home. It's funny.
What
It's
kind of stuff do they
interesting.
have in these basements?
Oh, cabinets.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't fit it in the house. You had to cut it in half, put it back together. It's just funny stories about
Yeah.
how people bring leftover stuff
Mm-hmm.
home, or stuff they were ripping out that was too good to throw out.
Yeah.
So the guy had to have it.
I'd like to see one of
You
like
know?
these environments because I'm so used to like when I think about work, I think about my parents and they both work at IT, internet
Yeah, so
technology.
they don't. Yeah.
It's cubicles, offices carpeted, everything. Everyone's
Well, it would be
casual.
like taking parts of a desk home or something,
Mhm.
or computer parts,
Yeah.
and building your own computer.
Exactly. Yeah. I like
So
people that think that way, like really out of the box. Like what can I do with this? What can I do with that? Oh wow, you see this? We could put that there and make this happen. Like no, you can't do that. And oh wait,
you could do
yeah, you
anything.
can. Yeah, exactly.
It would be like maybe these microphones. Oh, my father got them. He was,
Mm-hmm.
and you put it all together.
Exactly. Yeah. And then some people might look at it and be like, you know what? I can make a little statue out of it. If you take it apart and you weld. There's
Right.
so much potential with literally everything. Like some people just look at a piece of wood and they see a piece of wood. Someone else looks at it and they see a flute.
Yeah. Or
Or
like,
a
I'm looking
spoon.
at your table here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a nice metal table. But now I'm saying, how cool would it be if you had recycled wood on top of it? You glued it together, solid piece of wood. It would change the whole look of that table.
What do you mean?
This table,
Mm-hmm.
you have it's vinyl
So
coated
take this one off.
plywood. Vinyl coated plywood. So you get
Mhm.
rid of that, and you put some like old growth oak on, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like a thick piece with bark.
Yeah, thick, yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
Maybe. Or with a rough saw cuts in it.
Mm-hmm.
Sand it lightly, put a finish on it. And now it'll change the whole look of that table. Or you put a piece of stone on it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
How heavy though? I mean, those are.
Like an inch thick. I'm just saying, or 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying you could, do something like that, and now all of a sudden the piece is like, wow.
Exactly. Yeah, it changes. You could really upgrade something.
Yeah, you upgrade things.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think you still have a mind for landscaping if you still want to do it or architecture.
Yeah, I do.
You should give it a try.
I might. Oh, I have a lot of opportunity out in Long.
Yeah, would you do that as like a retirement thing or as a hobby? Because like
No, what
you work 5 days a week, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. I have enough stuff to do in retirement that, like, I have to build a house for my brother. I have to renovate my house out there.
Is that
Yes.
your final? You're gonna move there when you
I
retire?
don't know. Maybe.
Go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's scary
I mean,
thinking
just that
in the
alone,
future.
those things
Yeah, and they add
take a
up.
lot
They
of time.
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually it's time, but their cost.
Yeah. So that's be a retirement
Mm-hmm.
project, instead of playing golf,
Mm-hmm.
fix your house up.
I would way rather do that. You got to keep the mind busy. Like my neighbors on my left side, one of them unfortunately passed away during coronavirus. He was 101 or two, and he was he'd been in World War, maybe
Wow.
both. I think.
Possible.
Yeah, I think he was in both World Wars, which is crazy. No,
No, maybe the Korean War.
he was in Vietnam. He was in
No, not
not
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
If he was 101,
He was
yeah,
in World War II for sure.
definitely.
He had all these war hats that he used to wear. He was the nicest guy ever, veteran, and to keep busy on his downtime. And I mean, he was 90 years old,
He might have been in the
playing
Korean
tennis.
War.
Yeah,
Maybe.
he was what's it called. He was always playing tennis, going fishing, doing projects with his buddy, who was also his neighbor. He married his daughter, and
To be active at 101, God bless him, huh?
no, 101, no,
No, he wasn't active.
he wasn't bedridden either.
No.
He was getting up and walking.
Well, that's good.
He had someone drive for him, but he was still going. We're like, Ray, where you going? You going to a party? He's like, yep, I'm going to a party. Yeah, you know.
God bless him, huh?
Mm-hmm. They had
He
so much
lived a
energy
full-
for an
he
old
lived
age.
a good life.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate because I wish like someone like that could have been celebrated. Such a great person, decorated as well. Served his country faithfully, did a great job.
Wow.
And passed away during a biggest. I think it was the peak of coronavirus.
He died of that?
I'm not sure.
You don't know. Who knows?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was during that time. He was
Wow.
also ill. He was becoming more ill at that.
Yeah, I mean,
time.
he'll live forever. 101.
I wanted to do one of these with someone like that, like an elder. But I was gonna ask my neighbor, and he's hard of hearing. He'd be like, "Huh? What?" Like every time, But
Yeah.
I think with the headphones on, it'd be different. But also, I have to quarantine for 2 weeks to make sure I don't expose him. I don't want to get him sick either. It's scary. We live in a really weird time now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had a neighbor who was born here. Father was rich, and the yacht insurance company. You'd have a good time talking. He moved to Connecticut now, but he moved back when he was small, and he wound up getting drafted in World War II for the Germans.
Mhm.
He had some wild stories.
Wait, so
He was born here.
Mhm.
His father was a born in Germany. Came here, and after World War One, when Hitler just started, fixing Germany up, they
Mhm.
moved back, figuring, it's going to be great. And it turned.
and he got drafted.
He got drafted into World War II, 13 years old.
13.
And
That's so young?
He was in an anti-aircraft squad, shooting the shrapnel up planes.
Mhm. So technically, he was a soldier for the.
Well, for the German, German.
Yeah.
The Nazis were like the elite. He was in the German army. Yeah.
So that's what they called it, the German army. I thought the entire
Well,
state was the German.
No, well, the Nazis were a special group, right? The Gestapo. They were.
Yeah, they're the higher ups.
Yeah, they were.
Think he's still alive, Hitler? Not alive, but do you think he
No,
ever died in that
no.
bunker?
Who knows?
I have someone he believes he has intel. Russians found. They just haven't released. Going with America. They said all the world leaders know that Russia has the body. There was a body that was found. It was like a couple inches short. Ears were almost a couple degrees outwards. It didn't look like him.
Right.
They also found a skull.
You
that
don't
they
know.
said was. They said it was Hitler's. They tested it. It was 30-year-old. They were like, if anything, it was Eva Braun. She was also like very young.
Yeah.
That was like his mistress. I think they found her body, but
Look, people still think Elvis is alive.
Tupac Shakur. See, here's the thing: Elvis would be very ill, or just Tupac was pretty young, 20 in 1990.
Was he?
Yeah, he would be in his 50s.
Yeah.
Much of that. A lot of young people dying these days. I mean, it's awful when anybody dies, but especially like when they're growing, watching them.
People live too fast.
Were you there when? Wait, do you know where you were when you heard about JFK?
I wasn't born yet. 63.
And you were born the next year. No, I was gonna. So someone I knew, he
Yeah, I
knows.
know where
He
I
met him.
was. I
Yeah.
was in the belly.
No, they're not JFK. It was I had another name in mind. I
Oh,
threw one out there because. Oh, yeah, actually, I have a question. Where were you on 9/11? Like, where'd you heard about the town?
I was working at the Ernest Young building.
Did you see any of it? You were in the city, right?
Yeah, I actually was on the north side of the building, and in Times Square they have the TV screens. I
Mm-hmm.
saw a plane hit a building, and I'm looking at it. I thought it was an action movie that they were advertising. That's a movie is this, And at it happened. Hey, what plane would hit a building? Beautiful out.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one,
And then you're like, it wasn't an accident.
and I was like,
Is that what hit you?
it's when yeah, I was like, wow. Now then we went to the top of the building, you could see all the smoke. And then we left.
Was it like a quick evacuation?
No,
Which way did the smoke go? Was it just
it
like
was coming. It was
each
slowly
direction?
going uptown.
Did you guys have to like run from it?
No, I was on 40th Street.
Okay.
You were,
Yeah.
but then you see a couple cars shooting up north, cop
Mm-hmm.
cars, covered in dust. And like, what's going
Mm-hmm.
on?
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I heard the world stopped for like 2 weeks after.
Yeah, not a plane in the air,
Not just that, but I mean like
and
everyone was just
no
home.
one was going. Yeah, no one.
Nobody went to work in America.
Well, I wound up going to work that Saturday because it happened on a Tuesday. Worked downtown the train. Took the train down there. I think it was maybe the R. I got out. There's no power down there, and dark, completely dark. That was weird. No street lights.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're walking past buildings, there were X's on the door. Show that they were already searched.
Really,
Military vehicles going by. It was like a spy movie.
really.
Yeah,
So
it
they
was
were
weird.
looking for like insurgents
Well, there
and stuff.
was no, there was still just checking for survivors, and that was probably the day of,
Mm-hmm.
when all the X's were spray painted on the. And yeah, it was a mess. Big pile of main workers torching stuff. You saw dogs climbing on the hill with like shoes on because their feet were burned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the pads.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Crazy time.
Yeah, I worked it for like 2 days. That was it.
Were there any times like in your throughout your life, just like moments that just stopped the world for you? I haven't really had one of those.
That was like a big thing. 9/11.
The world just took a.
Yeah, I mean, anything other than that was maybe just hurricanes. The power's out for a couple of days, maybe, or.
Yeah,
But I think that was the worst. The shock. How did this happen?
that's what kind of happened to me during Corona. As soon as it hit, but it wasn't really like it just. For me, it was more about
No.
when Kobe Bryant died. I was like, did you hear about Kobe Bryant? I'm sure
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah,
the helicopter. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was for me. That was like probably the first time. Shocked.
Shocked that someone died. That because you think they're gonna last forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I mean, you don't expect people to die, especially rich people.
Mm-hmm.
You think their life is safe. It's like movie stars dying, rock stars. Plane crashes or car crashes.
Those are the worst, especially
Listen,
like when it's like
no,
medicated.
yeah, nobody's immune to dying.
True. You gotta live life one day at a time.
You know,
You gotta be really grateful too.
anything could happen.
Mm.
People get into helicopter crashes, just you know, going to a fundraiser. Fisher Brothers, his sister worked for them, production company, and the people who owned it, Fisher Brothers, they were like going to a fundraiser to donate money. Whole family died. Yeah, it's like,
Just like that.
yeah. What
That's
was that pitcher who was flying over Manhattan in his plane? He was going up the East River. The Met. Yeah, he was learning how to fly. And he made a left. They didn't have enough elevation, and he ran into the building.
really.
Or yeah, he was a pitcher. I forgot his name.
My uncle would know. Huge Met fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Not sure.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but I've heard
I
about
don't.
stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
don't follow sport.
Mhm.
Like, what a fiasco!
Yeah, and usually the most random things ever too. Like you just don't expect it, you know. I had an example in my head. Wait, what you were talking about before you get to the picture?
Storms.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about Salino and Barnes. So you know how they separated? You know Salino and Barnes, right? Injury attorney.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
180.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Okay.
So they broke up. They got back together, and now it's just Salino. That means there's no Barnes, and Barnes is dead.
He died?
And he died in a plane crash. Just him.
Wow.
I don't know if he was. He obviously wasn't the only one in the plane. I don't know how many people died. All I know is that both the associates weren't on the plane. It was only Barnes, not Salino. And they're saying like they got him out. You know, done with this guy. There's a lot of conspiracy in this world as
Oh,
well.
maybe they get rid of him?
Yeah, have you heard of like the Tom Hanks conspiracy?
No.
The child trafficking thing? Crazy. Some guy was like, I've worked with him. He's another actor. Like, Tom Hanks is a pedophile, blah blah blah. I have proof, blah blah blah. I like seen it. I don't care if anyone believes me or not, blah blah blah. Like, I'm not scared. And then like there was a trial of videos, and at like the last video he was like, I don't regret the things I've said, but I have a lot of bad things coming to me. He dies a really bad way day after making. Like, you ever heard about like the gears of society, like the Clintons, like Epstein,
Yeah.
Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah.
I heard that I've learned that Biden has an island that's like 5 miles away from Epstein's, and he has a U-boat dock, submarine dock.
No.
And guess who has a U-boat in that area? Submarine, not Epstein, but his wife, or,
Oh,
or
yeah?
his lover. What's her name?
Uh, Maxwell?
Yeah, yeah, something Maxwell.
Yeah.
It was like a G.
But these are all conspiracy theories that
Yeah, you can't.
people talked about a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and it was all dismissed because it's like, wait, you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's coming to the surface.
But you don't know what's crazy or what's not, because it's like I'm not saying you. I mean, like it's hard to distinguish, you know, because like there's a lot of BS in this world.
Yeah,
There's
how
a
would
lot
you
of
know?
truth. And a lot of it gets buried. Like believe it or not, a lot of things don't make show business very well. You know, so like they don't want to show it, or it's just not going to help their
Society
brand.
couldn't handle it.
Exactly. Or they have too much at stake. Someone is investing in like a foreign nation. They're not going to talk about how bad the policies over there. Like Apple would never complain about communism in China, because where do they get all their stuff produced from?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They pay a company that pays laborers who are five. You know, in China it's legal. In our standards, it's not. That's child labor. But in China, it's technically legal. You know, and Apple is just a legal system.
Mm-hmm.
But so you won't really hear them talking about reform in that sense. You know.
No.
But then they're gonna pledge to a different movement. But why? Because whatever legitimizes them here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they can align with to give themselves power, make sure that they're part of the it group. No, we're definitely aligned. We're here for you, you know.
If you dwell on all this stuff, it'll drive you crazy. That's why
true.
people snap.
I try not to. Like the
You
news.
can't. That's why you have to have hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
To sit and just watch and watch and watch.
Yeah.
It destroys someone's mind.
Not just distracting your mind. Doing something.
Destroy it.
No, I'm saying like having hobbies. Like for me, it's more of a distraction from the world, because like this government, this policy, this politics, and all that stuff. Like it could really suck
It's
you in.
always going to be there.
It could suck you in, yeah. But like also,
Excuse me.
there's a world around us. There's a world around us to explore. You know, there's a million things to do. You could find it. Like the quality of your life is only as good as your thoughts are. So if you don't think creatively, you're not gonna find creative things to do. If you don't have hard working skills, you're not gonna find anything worth doing. You know, any project to attend.
You know, I mean, the way I look at it is, no matter how strong you feel towards something, doesn't matter, because once you drop dead, it's still going to be going on. You know.
Maybe you want to leave an impact. It's kind of like the, you know.
It's nice to know about what's going on, so you could kind of protect yourself from it, not be a victim. You want to survive it, but to let yourself get into this thing to destroy you.
It's an enigma, you know.
I listen to it.
Yeah, and it sets the tone for your life, your day, you know.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Yeah, you wake up, and some people just choose violence because of the way they feel politically.
Yeah, or if you work with someone who's thinking differently than you, you're constantly arguing. So it's like, something, don't even talk about it. Just do what we have to do, work wise, and not talk about anything else.
That's a good point.
Because you're gonna hate the person.
Happens often.
You could almost see how the Civil War started in this country.
It's uprising again.
Like you look at the North and the South, and how you see people fought against their cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Think about it. If your cousin lives in Georgia, you're up here in New York. You have different views. You're fighting them. You might see them on a battlefield. You don't know.
I've
you
heard
go
stories
to their
about
town.
that.
Yeah.
Cousins found each other on the battlefield. They rejoice.
Oh, good. But some, think of the hatred. Horrible.
Yeah, a lot of things like that.
Nasty war.
They just terrorize like families too. Even if they're not going to war, like political views can destroy a family.
Yeah.
Dissenting opinions.
Look at now. My wife has fights with her father. He's got different political views.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot with teachers.
My neighbor she doesn't even want to go hang out with her family. Most of them are, thinking differently than her.
I don't like when people, because like, I've been at family parties or like talk about politics and like, yeah, you want to exercise the mind, you want to hear what other people have to say, but like, where it's headed, and they don't end well. They never.
No, it never ends well.
Like, why start that?
Yes, yeah, and it's things that you can't control. So just stay away.
Exactly, walk away. My policy.
Yeah, might as well play beer pong. Right?
Yeah.
Forget the politics.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at the family parties with a little sangria, have a little wine.
That's it.
They like that.
Yeah, so yeah. Politics. I don't even want to talk about politics. Yeah. So many other things.
Also, I don't want to drag this out. If you feel like
we could do it again.
Sure. You want to end it here?
What?
Good?
Yeah.
You know what we'll do? I'll try to drop some
subjects.
Some topics. Exactly.
Yeah, topics. This way, yeah.
Because usually sometimes when I have a guest on, let's say tomorrow I'm having a girl over who went to a school as like a boarding school, and it's almost like a chamber over there. Their thinking is very different than the average school, private school. And it costs $20,000 a year to go to, maybe more.
Yeah.
Just doing stuff like that. Usually like when you just have one of these podcasts, it goes from anywhere to anywhere, There's really no limits. And obviously it's easier when there's a third party, there's a third person you throw in, because then it makes the conversation even more lively.
Right.
I'm thinking of changing the scenery, not just here, but moving to a different spot. That way I could have more people. Not a basement with certain lighting. We change it around.
This isn't bad.
No, it's not. No, I love it.
I mean, you could get a round table.
What, to fit another person? Or
I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could do a round table and you'd have more people. Maybe,
I tried that at school. It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
it was pretty fun.
You got to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is cool.
Thank you.
Like I said, I haven't done this.
I'm glad you came.
A little rusty,
No, don't worry about it. I mean, it's like some people are more lively when they speak. Some people are very slow, and I don't mind either. Because like honestly, getting your thoughts to words.
It all depends what you're talking about, too.
That's true. Yeah. If it's exciting, you're gonna be on the ball. But if you're just thinking about a story, you're telling it. You got to remember it.
Well, that's the thing. You jump around. Maybe I'll be driving home and I'll be like, oh, I should have told. Should have told him that.
It happens all the time. I watch a video, like I post clips and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, if only I said this to that argument. If only I responded to this with that, it would make me look better, or I would sound better, or I had an idea that I want to say now that I didn't get to. But you can never say everything,
You know what I noticed? I would be at work and you forget someone's name. It'll come to me. You know where it comes to me? On the top of the 59th Street Bridge. I don't know if it's because you're pedaling and your blood flow is stronger and it's making your brain work better, like kind of like a battery charger.
Yeah.
You'd be riding, all of a sudden, boom, it comes to you. Like, oh, now? Why here,
Yeah.
And I'm starting to wonder if the more active you are, as the blood flows, it gets everything going.
Yeah, like if we did this on a bike, it'd be a lot different,
Yeah, I'm just saying. Line up exercise bikes, and as the people are exercising,
I want to try that.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
Hey, things will come to you. I just wonder if it has anything to do with your heart pumping and the amount of blood flow.
It probably does, because when your heart's pumping, your brain is moving differently.
Everything.
It's getting different.
It's like warming a car up.
It's getting new. It's like an oil change. If you think about it, it's like it's changing the oil.
I wonder, because it's just funny that you remember things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. You think
know?
about someone's name, a song. That's the
Yeah, it
worst.
comes to you.
When you remember the jingle, you're like,
Yeah,
and you can't remember it. You're like, fuck, what was the song name?
right.
You
Always,
finally get it.
yeah.
It's like riveting. You're like, oh my Jesus, thank you. It's like the
Yeah.
enlightenment, you know?
No, you're sitting in church, and all of a sudden it comes to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're too busy yawning, and the next thing you know, it comes to you.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll.
So,
Let's go
okay.
here. So Anthony, thank you for
All
coming
right.
by.
You're welcome.
Guys, Mixin with
I hope
Mas.
this was fine.
Anthony Chorzepa in the flesh. We're gonna see more of him.
Yeah. You know what's weird? I can't hear myself in just this. So I hear myself from within. You don't even know how you sound.